This is this process now. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Clerk Bujoe, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Present.
Mayor Brown.
Present.
Councilmember Fellows.
Present.
Councilmember Tucson. Councilmember Simmons. Not here yet. Councilmember McLean. Councilmember King. Also absent. We have a quorum.
Move to excuse members.
So move.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, supported by Councilman Tucson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Second. I will entertain a motion for agenda approval. Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, supported by Councilmember McLean. Councilmember Fellows.
Yeah, I'd like to amend the agenda to move the beer cooler discussion closer to the top. Maybe right to the top or after the ordinances.
After the ordinance.
Or after meeting, or the meeting minutes.
Yeah, I can do it after, are you folks okay with this after the ordinances?
Sure.
The ordinance?
This one, right?
Yeah, this one.
The
Okay.
town.
Oh, well, there's the marijuana ordinance too.
That's second reading.
Oh, it's a second reading, so it's not yet. So,
I think that the city manager wanted to amend the agenda to add the Arbor One update to the closed session. Is that correct?
I think we just.
do it in this closed session.
Do it? Okay.
All right, so we'll be moving,
One thing, we moved the GCSI to closer to the top, and Dwayne will be here, and it is his birthday, so.
okay, so let's be. Can we move that after the minutes? Okay. Oh, sorry with that?
Sure.
You do that.
Sorry. Okay. Councilman-
Time limit for the. Special.
1 second, Councilman Tucson, has Sandy.
Yeah, YPAC created a resolution for participation in evaluating an armed response program, and that was put in communications. I was wondering if we could have that as a discussion in the agenda.
Does it have to be a discussion today? Can we get on our next agenda?
It was not, it wanted to be for the next,
It's timely.
not necessarily, no.
I was actually gonna, when we got to that point, I was just going to say, they're probably going to be a part of that LEAP process, since they are one of the stakeholders, so that we have time for input already planned.
Okay, so. If that's the case,
So
perfect.
if you left this communication.
Let us communicate. Yes.
Let's
Thank you.
make sure that happens.
Thank you.
All right, any other updates, changes to the agenda? Good evening, Councilmember King. Hello, everyone. All right.
Like, put a time limit on discussion for the period.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem, what would you like to say?
20 minutes.
20 minutes, if that. I don't know if we're the new budget. All right. Any other changes or updates? I'll keep them. First you all. Seeing none, all in favor of the amended agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm opposed. All right, thank you. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to hand these out, so. Councilman McLean. Can you take us in the closed session, please?
Resolution 2025-174, resolved by the council of the city of Ypsilanti that this council enter into a closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268C for strategy negotiation settlement connected with negotiating a collective bargaining agreement. I so moved.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman McLean, supported by Councilmember Tucson. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Simmons is absent. Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Councilmember King.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Fellows.
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Motion carries. We're moved to a closed session.
Thank you. All right, council is gonna move to the basement and then we'll return, after closed session. Let me ask. Question.
Well.
Nope. Alright, we're gonna call the meeting back to order by allowing Councilmember McLean to read the resolution.
Resolution number 2025-175, resolved by the council of the city of Ypsilanti, that this council leave closed session and return to open session of this meeting. So moved.
Support.
Been moved by Councilmember McLean, supported by Councilmember Tucson. Please call the roll.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Councilmember King.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yeah.
Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously, return to open session.
All right, so we are back in open session. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, love a full house. Just for some updates for folks who did not know, there were some changes to the agenda, so I just want to go over that. We are gonna next move to public comment, and then after that, when we get it, we'll do our first reading of ordinance A. And then we will have the beer cooler discussion that was at the end of the agenda. We moved it up. And then after that discussion, we'll go into our resolutions, motions, discussions. We'll approve the minutes, and then letter G has also been moved up after letter A, between A and D under resolutions. That's GCSI contract. Everything else should stay where it was. All right.
Mayor,
Yeah.
or do that, can you do the LOA?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
sorry. I'll entertain a motion on our discussion from closed session.
So move.
Can you say it?
Oh, yeah,
Or Tracy, can you state it, please? Absolutely. But,
Councilmember Tucson is moving to approve the letter of agreement for the union and any budgetary amendments necessary to implement the agreement.
Indeed,
Oh, sorry.
indeed.
all right, so moved by Councilmember Tucson, supported by Councilmember Simmons. Please call the roll.
Councilmember King.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Okay, now we are at public comment. Okay, so public comment will last for 45 minutes up front. Those who are signed up on the list, I will call your name. You can approach the podium if you're able, state your name and address for the records. You'll have 3 minutes to address council. If the 45 minutes ends before we get to the end of the list, or those who want to speak, we will have our clerk collecting names of those who did not get to sign up, or collecting names on Zoom for those who have their hands raised. And at the end of the business, we will go back and complete the rest of comment. Because there are folks on online.
Right.
Okay, I have a question. If there are folks in the audience who did not sign up on this, your sheet. How does that work?
Also, the sign at the beginning.
Yeah, it says to sign up at the
And if you're
beginning.
on there, you could dark at the end of your chance.
Right.
To sign up in the middle of the meeting.
So then you do have people trying to stop raise hands since that's part of it. It looks like that sheet is full. Well,
Yes.
we can also ask for,
Can we have another sheet for folks who did not sign up on this sheet? Who are in the room, who would like to speak? So if you signed up, you do not need to sign up again, but if you have not signed up and you would like to speak, please sign that sheet.
Take it out there.
And then those who have their hands raised on Zoom, keep your hands raised,
No one does, I think.
but someone will. I'm sure. Yes, keep their hands raised. Okay.
Madam Mayor, I also know that you allows you, I think it's a group of people to sign up. Reduce to 2 minutes if they're ready for them to sign up. I guess that's. I don't think we necessarily.
But there will be. Is there a sheet going? All right. Okay. I'm sorry, I just tell me things.
You want me to get the sign up sheet now? Are we done with sign up? Has everyone
Yes.
signed up that wants to? Because we will collect it.
Yes, so if you have not signed up and you want to speak, please sign up on the second sheet that's in the hallway. And then our clerk will come and collect that. And then those on Zoom, if you want to speak, make sure you raise your hand and keep your hands raised. If you would like to speak. It'll be done, right, just give a second. And so, because once I start, the signing up is done.
Or iPhone.
All right. Okay, all right, so we are going to begin public comments. The first name on the list is Trisha Duckworth. Good evening.
Good evening, council. We are here tonight, no secret, to talk about what happened at the beer cooler. I am under the clear understanding of reaching out to you all this week that there are not clear-cut things that can happen to close the store down. We appreciate the efforts of Mr. Witherspoon to kind of keep the community safe over there, but we're here tonight to talk about what it is that we can do. This store has had a history, even outside of these owners. I don't know how that goes, but even outside of these owners, that store has a long history of not being a safe place in the community. I have been in that store myself to even see them give credit to someone for liquor. I've heard from other folks, credible people, that they are giving liquor away with EBT purchases. The store, in my opinion, is not one that is for the community. The reason why I say that is we stood out there and did where's the clock at? I want to make sure I'm going. We stood out there and did the Black Lives Matter mural, asked them for some water. They wouldn't even give us any water. We stood out there. We had Juneteenth right down the street. We asked them for 10 bags of ice for Juneteenth. They didn't give the ice. Now people can do what they want with their money, but it is clear that the community is not important to the store. Trisha Duckworth wants the store closed because I believe that what happened over there needs to be closed down. But I realize that you all don't necessarily have those powers. But what I'm asking is that we can take a look at updating the charter, right? Because I've been reading the charter, haven't got through all of it, but the charter doesn't give clear-cut things that I could read that could hold the store accountable. But I do know that the charter can be updated. So my ask for you all today is to come alongside community, figure out how we can update the charter to hold any business in this community accountable when they do these vicious acts of assault. This was a human rights attack. I don't care, through Twinkies, whatever. I don't care about any of that. You cannot take the law in your own hands. If I go out here, somebody say something I don't like, and I smack them, guess what? I'm going to jail. And I can guarantee it would take 3 days, prosecutor. So let's not talk about what we can't do. Let's talk about what we can do, because we all know. And I appreciate you all, because y'all was boots on the ground as soon as it happened. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Because the community needs to know that you all don't just sit in these seats and govern, that you come alongside and you do that, and I appreciate that. Please, let's look at how we can update this charter. We need to hold this store accountable. They do not deserve to make money in our community anymore.
Thank you. Adam, testimony? Good evening.
Good evening, council. My name is Adam Tasselmeyer. I'm here to address you regarding the marijuana ordinance 1451 tonight. I saw in the first reading that it looks like the number has been put to 12, which we currently have 12 operating licensees in the city, although one of them, the city website, is a different entity, and I believe it's been closed over 120 days, so I don't know if that license is still active, because I know the ordinance says any suspension of operations over 120 days and you lose your license. I'm here asking that we could get the number lower. I represent Herbal Solutions. I'm the owner of the Herbal Solutions. We've been here 14 years. We are getting destroyed. I know that People Town is closing the 14th of this month. They've been there 14 years. It's just oversaturated. I don't know how that works with the current number that are operating. If you could change the number, if you can lower it now, but all I'm asking is if a licensee or a permit holder does not transfer their license the correct way through the city, if that license rolls back and doesn't become available for someone else to apply for. One, the litigation issue, if you open up licenses to new applicants, that nightmare. Which I'm sure we all remember what happened. We allowed the 3 and then it turned to 7, and there's just too many. We'd be very grateful for all the remaining licensees. If we can get that number back to 7 would be great. That was what we had when this was passed in 2010, 2011. That would give everyone a chance to succeed possibly. But the number right now it's just not sustainable. Ipsy's 4 square miles. We are, I believe, still the highest populated dispensaries based on the amount of square footage, 4 square miles that Ipsy is, and there's just too many. And I just hope that as these places close, their permits roll back and we go back to a more reasonable number. Don't let those permits become available for other applicants to apply for. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Raven? Good evening.
Raven Calfan, on the Human Relations Commission. There are a few things that were supposed to be on the agenda today that aren't. We had the resolution to take Cuba off the state sponsored terrorism list. We approved it, I think almost unanimously, maybe 1 vote. We also had a resolution for HRC to reconsider rezoning so that harm reduction services can be more available throughout the city. That's also not on there. I'm not going to be too hard on HRC because you were great in the last meeting. But after having Lori on a commission for months, it really went in a way that felt like deliberately obstructionist. It's very irritating that those 2 things are not on the agenda. You are going to hear about the resolution for Cuba anyway, because there's a coalition of people here. We had the Michigan Action Network for Cuba come in and give a really great presentation, and you know that it's hard to get people civilly engaged, and they gave us, the citizens in our city, a presentation about why this mattered to them. So I need some accountability as to why this keeps happening specifically with our commission that's obstructing like the flow and process of democracy. And in terms of the beer cooler, I mean, I'm sure you all know this is just a confluence of systematic poverty, racism that is not being addressed in our city, that, you know, huge outbursts happen because of that, which is also something that you are all responsible for. That's it for me.
Thank you. Okay. LK, that's, I only have initials on, LK. Okay.
Hi,
Good evening.
my name is Lauren Kenny. I'm behind the seat. So, I came to talk about Cuba, but I also live in this neighborhood and fully support what is being demanded to protect Black women. These systems of oppression are connected. So, recently we went to the HRC to try and pass a resolution to lift the blockade and to take Cuba off the state sponsors of terrorism list. just some background on me, I've been to Cuba about 20 times. I started going when I was 14 with my dad. Have been on brigades the past 3 years to Cuba and have brought dozens of people to Cuba. It's a very special place for me that as I get older, I see how important it is. The blockade affects the exchange of medical and technological developments between Cuban and American doctors and researchers. Some examples are Cuba recently created a medication for Alzheimer's that shows promising results, much better than anything we have here in the US. Because of the blockade, people do not have access to it. How many grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles do we have here that has that, that don't have access to that very needed medication? They have also invented 5 COVID vaccines before we had any. The US blocked them from getting syringes, even though they had the vaccines before us. They also have a lung cancer vaccine and injection for ulcers that has a 70% success rate. This was created in 2006. Hundreds of thousands of people have lost limbs since then who could have been saved. This also affects Black and brown people the most. Not only do they have one of the best healthcare systems free of cost, Cuba sends doctors all over the world and trains doctors from all over the world that go to their school of medicine. The medical brigades, which are called the Henry Reed Brigade, started after Hurricane Katrina. As we all probably know, that happened 20 years ago this month. And Cuba had hundreds of doctors lined up to go to Cuba, to come to the US, and the US blocked them from coming to help people. Again, the US would rather kill Black and poor people than let Cuban doctors come here to help them. Their family code passed in September 2022. This was a 2-year process of extensive public education, discussion, and debate. 6 million people participated, 77% of registered voters. There were 25 drafts and tens of thousands of meetings. This family code guarantees the right of all people to form a family, legalize same-sex marriage, gender change, and empowered and enshrined rights of the elderly, women, children, disabled people, and caretakers. It's one of the most progressive in the world, and they are light years ahead of us in the US. We have a lot to learn from them. The truth is, the majority of people in the US, along with the international community, support and end the US blockade against Cuba, as well as removing them from the state sponsors of terrorism list. There's zero evidence of this. Viva Cuba, protect Black women, enough is enough. Vanessa?
Good evening. Hi, I'm Vanessa. I am a Cuban American. I have family in Cuba who struggle with this blockade. And I come here to speak because there's Black and brown people in Cuba, and here also they're struggling, and it's all interconnected. My family in Cuba cannot finds it very hard to even get meat. This blockade affects Cuba because like it could grow like so much. My family needs medications, and they can they may wait months and depend on me and my family to fly in. Food is a very big issue. They stand in long lines to get any sort of things, and prices always are rising. Technology is also restricted, so Cuba cannot buy computers or phones if it has US parts. And another big way that it's affecting my family is that sending remittances is very hard now because of the blockade. Western Union shut down, so we have to go through more expensive means to send the money. And on top of that, Cuba is also on the state sponsor of terrorism list, which scares companies and banks away. It also affects the innocent people in Cuba. And I don't know why they put on a blockade that affects innocent people. I don't think that is right. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then Zendaya. I apologize if I mispronounced anything. Sandia. Yeah, yes, is it okay if someone who was on public comment, I want to see if I can switch with him? I didn't know if you'd be able to stay the entire time. But if you want them to take your, yeah. I'll take my place. No. Alex? Good evening.
Good afternoon, all council members. My name is Alex Schnurry.
You talked up.
I know some of you have heard my name.
To the microphone.
This is,
microphone.
Yeah. This is, okay. Apologize, I'm sorry. My name is Alex Schnurry. Hello to all of you. And some of you have heard my name. This is spontaneous. I wasn't quite prepared for this. I apologize if I'm not up to par. But I'm gonna, I know the business gets done in a different fashion formally. Once we submit certain amount of information, hopefully we'll be able to talk to a particular first two council members that who carry Ward 2, Councilmember Steve Wilcoxon and Councilmember Patrick McLean. And of course, the ultimately mayor as well. I am going to submit a request shortly to you. Once I get a little information for your request. Something happened here 3 months ago, 2 months ago, I think. And I wasn't given the opportunity, simply because I think you hadn't been informed, inadvertently about me having just simply wanting to appeal, literally just, or the city clerk, who's been very helpful, by the way, to me all along. I appreciate that. Literally just 2 hours prior to this session, I had no knowledge of it. And then there were certain misrepresentations made by the 2 gentlemen who were here. One was the city attorney, the other one was Joe Myers. So that's one thing that I would like you to maybe keep on mind when I submit to you requests to give me an opportunity to present my case and provide to you with an absolute smoking gun, which I am in possession. Aside from that, the city has a huge problem on its hand, and I'm forewarning all of you about it, members of the public too. That's about a property called Huron Vista. Huron Vista Apartments. What should I have in mind? Finish?
Yes, your time's up. Thank you.
But, we'll submit information about that.
Thank you.
Lindsay? Again, I don't have the last name, Lindsay. Oh, okay. One more. One more seat right here. Okay, excuse me, everyone. We want to be able to hear folks get public comment, so if we could keep the talking down so everybody can hear and we can move through this, I really appreciate it. If there are folks who want to come in and have a seat available, please do so, but can we do so quietly? Thank you. Good evening, Lindsay.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Kolka and I live on 169 North Washington Street, just a couple blocks away in the city of Ypsi. And I came to talk about Cuba, like some other people who went before me, but I must say at first, I do support the demands that are being brought forward under kind of the call of protecting Black women and shutting down the beer cooler. I've been here a lot of times over the past 2 years as there's been agitation that has come from council around the problems on Washington Street and that has pointed the finger at poor people, and we literally have on camera a business owner, wait by the business, someone getting beat, and that's still that narrative isn't shifted. And I think that Raven said it, but you have built this narrative that makes that action okay. So
Yeah, I'll yield the time to other folks to talk about that. So with Cuba, in Cuba, I'm not Cuban, American. I'm not from Cuba. I am in Ipsy and I'm Michigander. But I care a lot about Cuba. I've been a couple times. I've studied the country a lot. And its socialist revolution and its democracy is something that I think people would care a lot about. Cuba has one of the most shining stars democracies ever. Something like this would never happen. We wouldn't have to wait many days and wait in line to hope that people are talking about making decisions about what's happening in our lives. Democracy is the front and bottom. It is everywhere in Cuba. That's the opposite of what we're told in the United States because there's tons of money and propaganda put into making everybody think that it's the opposite. When in reality, the democracy is thriving in Cuba. Healthcare is thriving in Cuba. 90% of Cubans own their homes. There's no homelessness in Cuba. People have guaranteed access to education at every single level. They do not have to pay for it. There is poverty there, but it's because of an imperialist blockade waged by the United States that is genocidal and is a blockade. And we are just asking that you pass a resolution to say that you don't approve of that. That's what's on the table right now, right? All you have to say is, we are urging the people above us, in the Senate and House of Representatives, that they're gonna urge the president to do that because our democracy is one person signing a piece of paper that is killing and contributing to the death of millions of people in one island just south of us. Because they show us a better world as possible. They are a thriving socialist society, and we are told they are not. The things that Vanessa talked about. This has real life impacts on the family members of our citizens in Ipsy, people that we know and love in Cuba. It also affects us because it is a two-sided blockade. We can't send things to Cuba and they can't give us doctors and medicine and innovations that they have an abundance of and are dying to share around the world. But because the US is threatening with violence, with military base and an illegal occupation in the country, Viva Cuba. Please consider this resolution.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Brown. Council persons, my name is Leah Mills Chapman. I am a business owner here in the city of Ypsilanti, born and raised in this area. And I stand before you deeply concerned about what took place and transpired at the beer cooler. I will not spend my time rehearsing what was evident on a video. The egregious offense and the assault of a Black woman by business owners in this city. The viewing of that definitely brought fear to women, Black women that look like myself and look like you sitting there. We have a great showing today. Women on the Move is a nonprofit organization that has done great work here within the city and the township and throughout Washtenaw County. And we urged Black women and those that were willing to support, but definitely Black women, to begin to have a voice for themselves, to begin to be honored for who we are, to begin to be recognized as citizens of value within this county. And so, again, I won't rehearse it, but what I will say is that there is no reason that, as my sister Trisha said, that it should have been days that lapsed when we saw an assault on video with sitting out of hand. When the police showed up, they should have been doing and making actionable steps to remedy what transpired against that Black woman. We know that over on Washington Street that we have individuals who suffer. They suffer from mental health concerns, substance abuse disorders, and other short-term disorders. And we know this, and yet they are still being harmed. And so today, I stand here and I ask for you all to humbly accept a resolution that I've drafted. All right. This resolution states, a resolution affirming the city of Ypsilanti's commitment to standing against the assault of Black women, including those, but not excluding, but including those with mental health disorders, substance abuse disorders, or disabilities, whether visible or invisible. Because we need to know that there are people with invisible disabilities, and you don't have the ability to recognize it just because you see them or because you see a behavior. Right? So we need to make certain that you all ensure expedient investigations of such cases by the Ypsilanti Police Department. If you will, I would love to submit this.
Send that to us, absolutely.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening, council, mayor, everyone here as well. I just want to first remind you guys that you voted on a resolution saying that racism was a public health crisis. That was in 2018. And just to get the narrative correct about Washington Street, I was able to analyze the county sheriff's dispatch data. Of the total from 2023 to 2024 calls, which were over 35,000 calls. All right, of the over 35,000 calls to the police and IPSI specifically, 4.96% were Washington Street specific. Let that sit in your mind about the narrative that we are creating, this us versus them narrative that we are creating, and you, not individually, but collectively have created this scarcity that lives among people with the mindset that unlimited resources cannot exist for all of the unwanted or unmet needs. But it is possible. We have seen this council before pass resolutions when it fits in that can be performative without necessarily any teeth to do anything. There was even a driving equality ordinance that tried to get passed here where the then city attorney removed all of the crucial elements of that, which was about racial equity because it was jargon and unnecessary. This is not new. People who have been historically put on the margins intentionally and strategically, not at any will of their own, have resulted in these things that are happening, like the incident at the cooler, where a Black woman was violently brutalized. It happens on a regular basis, and I now to share the stat with you, where the small percentage is actually on Washington Street. It leads me to believe that there is an over-policing of that area. When there are unsolved murders that could be going towards. There are unsolved criminal sexual conduct incidences that could be going toward. But instead, we are determined in our minds to criminalize and target people of color, unhoused people, and people who are in poverty. Last October, we had a very similar turnout. And as a result of that, you guys shortened public participation because it got too unruly. And you know, we're going to take 45-minute sessions, and we're even lucky that we get an opportunity of a second one if the first one is not even used up, because this earlier you had it to be the first 45 minutes had to be used up before the second one could actually come over. We have harm reduction not even allowed in the city legally in downtown area, even though we know there's a huge racially disparate amount of people dying from opioid overdose in our community. We are a resource-rich community, and the public safety mental health millage needs to be impacted.
Thank you. Sacred right behind you. Sacred Melvin. Yeah.
Well, I've been coming here for what, 2014? Well, this time the building inspector came and somehow I must own the building because the landlord sent me this certificate that I'm in control and I have to repair all this, including painting, repairing the damaged drywall unit, the living room, the edge of the wall and then the living room and that. Plus eliminating the pest infection used to prove parasites that will not injure the human health and take proper precautions to prevent the infection. Well, I really love this part. person, President strike that comes every Friday for the last 2 years. Well, when it comes, if you have a bed bug or possibility, you have to take everything off your bed and also off your upholstery. Well, I have the bed bug protector before I even moved in. So now, this week, I'm sitting having my morning coffee. There's a little gray thing over there. Oh no, it's a mouse. You know what? So I use my metal wash basket and put it on the house. I called the office twice, but nobody came. So I go downstairs and get Jeff, the maintenance man, and he came up and he removed the mouse. Well, that opened a whole new bag. Cause I have food in the kitchen and there was somebody bites it. I said, there's fruit flies. No, my neighbor said, no, that's a mouse. Well, I started cleaning the shelves in the kitchen. I have about 2 pounds of poop. Plus, there's dead mice in my shoes in the closet. There's a dead mouse on the balcony, which I have when I sweep. Well, put them down so the officer checked and he stole my stuff. Now, this says, and I must decrease my storage to the following units. Well, the storage happened when the management team came and rearranged my furniture in my apartment. So here's the bookcase, there's the couch. I'm sitting in the middle of the living room. And all the electric outlets are behind the bookcase. You're wearing behind the bookcase.
Your time is up, but we got the documents you dropped off, and so we received a copy of the documents you dropped off, okay? No, I have it, I have it.
Do you do? Okay, can I have a clean copy?
We'll get you one, yes.
No, I have a file next Tuesday.
Oh, thank you.
And the file is for our senior building.
Say, Grant.
The management. Won't even let us have a quick TV. I know.
Well, we'll get you a copy of it, thank you.
You can make a speech. It's not our thing.
Joy Germa.
I'm 83 years old, I'm changing lights.
Folks, if we could please keep it down so we can hear our speakers, thank you so much.
Good evening. I'm here in support and ask your support that, the playhouse is not closed, in the winter time
Please speak up louder.
for the homeless.
Please be quiet.
That's my concern, as well as what everybody else talking about, but I'm on, the homeless right now. And I'm pretty sure the overall majority of those people probably have mental issues themselves. And if you don't give them a warm place, they're just gonna be out. So it wouldn't be very safe. It would be safer for the community. If they had.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Wall. Keisha Wall. Oh, okay. Good evening.
Came here to support the resolution in solidarity with taking Cuba off the state-sponsored terrorism list. It's pathetic that y'all didn't put it on the agenda. Cuba is our neighboring nation who is under constant attack by the US for having the gall to resist imperialist aggression and fight for the liberation of their peoples and their land, and there is something y'all could do today to materially support Cuba's ongoing fight to defend their sovereignty. When the resolution inevitably comes across your desk, vote for it. Viva Cuba. People who want to know more about Cuba and how to support them, check out Michigan Action for Cuba Committee. With regard to the Black woman who was brutalized at the beer cooler, everyone here will attest to the blatant reality of the horrors of the violence of the owners in this city against us. But what happened at the beer cooler is the logical conclusion at the intersection of your continued inaction and outright hostility to projects aimed at popularizing de-escalation throughout the community, like care-based safety, while earmarking funds for potential cops, your continued hostility to our homeless and vulnerable community members, many of whom are Black women, including the fact that you've yet to approve the use of the Freight House for the Daytime Warming Center and keep passing the buck for a 24/7 shelter in Ypsi to the county. And you're continuing protection for landlords and business owners over the material well-being of the people of Ypsilanti. Slumlords like Beale are throwing Black families on the curb, and that is a fact. People have been begging y'all to act on these issues for years. Are y'all not tired?
Yeah.
Y'all plugging in for the war between the have and the have-nots against the have-nots. If you cared about the needs of the people of Ypsilanti, you'd act today. You'd impose restrictions on slumlords today. You'd approve the Freight House for the Daytime Warming Center today. And this weaponized incompetence is completely transparent, and you can't run the clock out on doing your job. But luckily, we also have the power to protect and defend ourselves. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Brown and City Council. I just want to start out by saying, I've been a resident for 10 years, but off and on for over 40, because I always had to move back and forth between Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor, and Willow Run for housing. So I will say this, as a lifelong activist, it's really important to me that we address not only our feelings about the beer cooler, but how it exists within other issues. I didn't know about the Cuba resolution being put forth, but I support it from everything I know about the Cuba situation. And when I did 8 tours to help clean up after Katrina in New Orleans, it just was painful to know they were standing by out in the Gulf and we didn't let them in. So painful for my country, a shame. So I will say that I don't have to be the only one speaking, but I want to say that we don't have enough time here tonight. I want to speak up for the fact, as a person on the Sustainability Commission, it's not sustainable to only talk about things like recycling and solar power and all that kind of great stuff I really support as sustainability. I fought for the word sustainability to be left in our commission when they wanted to change the name, because you cannot have a sustainable city without taking care of human beings within that city.
Yeah.
So I see that I need to just say out loud, you can't get rid of racism by not talking about it. You can't get rid of sexism by avoiding talking about it. You can't get rid of homelessness without talking about it. You can't deal with the mental illness crisis issues without talking about it. Where's the money that we had allotted for the mental health services? I remember there being an issue about that. We come over and over and over again about addressing the homelessness issue. But when it comes right down to it, we all saw on that videotape what happened. And honestly, as a person who's lived through much severe physical violence in my life, I know what it's like to feel like that woman. And I also know what I saw in the eyes of the man who put his stick down only when he realized he was being filmed. And I want to say that I want to hold you all accountable for having a Freight House meeting about all of these issues, because they're all connected and they have to do with the sustainability of the lives of human beings in this city.
Yeah.
River? Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Brown and the City Council. My name is River. I'm speaking on behalf of the Huron Vista community, as well as myself. Firstly, I would like to bring attention to the state of the buildings in which there are issues which stem from the construction of the building, which was not properly completed. At this point, we even have city inspectors coming out and saying they don't even know how these buildings passed any inspection. Besides the concrete under the floorings crumbling apart and drywall peeling, we have structural issues, which there are flooding issues in several units as a result of. Some of us have been losing furniture to water damage. Some of us can't even use our living rooms, into my knowledge. Already, some of us have lost a loved one to cold water pulling inside our unit and ending a life. Unfortunately, those who are responsible have no intention of taking accountability and have even been intimidating those residents, which ones are threatening to evict them while they are rightfully withholding rent and escrow until proper repairs have been made. Many of us are too afraid to speak up because this company has shown that they don't care about us. I'm asking the council today to take action against unethical business practices and stop Huron Vista from taking advantage of low-income housing, since they know these families have few other places to go. Thirdly, I would ask the council to investigate Huron Vista for breach of contract. It is according to Mr. Records that low-income housing tax credit has been allocated to this development on the basis that at least 1,500 square feet of accessible community space will be provided for these tenants. However, the reality so far is that the amenities are severely limited in their availability, namely the pool and gym. They are inaccessible outside of office hours, and the hours of which the office is open are seemingly arbitrary as they are changing all the time. The problem now is that nobody can reasonably access the amenities because on the days that the office is open, it closes before people can use them, usually around 5 p.m. For the people in the back, that means your taxpayer dollars are being used by this company and they are abusing this contract. This is despite the fact that the gym has a separate entrance and can technically be accessed without having to go through the office. However, they choose to close it off anyway. I have been informed by leasing agents that the amenities are limited in the accessibility as a means to collectively punish all tenants because some tenants have some complaints against them. This is very unfair to the rest of us, and it isn't even an effective solution because nobody knows about it. Regardless, as I've stated, I believe this company is now in breach of contract with Mishta. And also, I'll wrap it up with everything everybody else has been saying. These companies rule our lives, and they get to decide where we live, what the conditions are, and if we try to do anything about it, like if we try to voice our opinions, they fill these rooms with cops to intimidate us. And we're not stupid. Enough is enough.
Hi, how are you? Anthony Williamson, I live in Nipmuc Township. I am here to talk about 6 different things and do it in 3 minutes. So, I'm gonna first start as the Government and Community Relations Specialist for Ypsilanti Housing Commission, where we are now developing a resident council, and that the residents of the public housing sites would like an opportunity to meet with you guys at some time in the near future in a much more organized way. I'm also coming to you guys as a board member from the Ypsilanti Senior Center, where I want to thank Shell King, Steve Wilcoxon, and there's a third name here that I really can't see, Bonnie. For all the work we've done, because you guys know the senior center has been closed for a little while. There's been a lot of support from the city to get everything rolling, so I really appreciate that. And hopefully we'll be open real soon, and that support will be continued. Okay, now, I'm also Anthony Williamson, Summerfest committee leader, right? I want to thank you all for the support for the Summerfest, but still next year, instead of the waivers, I think we talked about a sponsorship where, right? And so next year, or before next year, I want to have an opportunity to speak with whoever I need to about the city being the sponsor, not the main sponsor, but one of the sponsors along the county for Summerfest. Next, I'm Anthony Williamson, contractor for Women and Men Working for Change. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're moving the domestic violence walk from Park Ridge to Riverside and Frog Island, right? And one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about is one of the things we want to do instead of a one day, we want to do a domestic violence week. Okay, and that week will start October 29th, but on October, no, I'm sorry, that starts September 29th. On October 1st, we want to do a Paint the Town Purple campaign, where we're asking local businesses to put anything purple up. But I wanted to see how we can talk to the city about changing the lights on Michigan Avenue to purple, if it is all possible. I know, I feel it over there, but I'm just gonna ask about it. Because she's already allowed and connected us with the water tower is going to be purple for public safety. And so thanks for the support of everybody there. That's not that. Trunk or treat, it's coming up October 25th. Right, y'all know what that is. I want support for that. What else I got? Eastern Recreation Center, September 11th and 12th at Christian Love Fellowship. You guys know they're trying to do a Washington County Recreation Center. All you guys behind me, I'm not supposed to be addressing. Make sure that y'all come there and support that. Thank you.
Masterful. There you go.
That was a master class for sure.
Absolutely. It was.
Good evening.
Hey, I'm Dave Spinsky representing Solar Energy tonight. Some bad news, some good news, right? We continue to work on this project to do solar for all. We're trying to put solar on 100 low-income houses in Ypsilanti. We applied for a Michigan Solar for All grant, and the Trump administration has pulled back those funds. So we're not gonna get those funds. So that grant is, there's still a possibility that it could happen, but it's slim. Our grant application is still in there, and it might have, but I doubt it. The good news is the Ann Arbor Community Foundation has pledged $60,000 towards this project.
Wait, 1 second. Excuse me, please, audience. We would like to hear our speaker. So if we could please give respect to our speaker so we can hear them. Sorry. Thank you very much.
So again, on the good news, the Ann Arbor Community Foundation has pledged $60,000 to our project. And also has promised to help John Weiss and I set up a meeting with some of their donors to present this solar for 100 low-income homes project. And hopefully we can find some traction and get some grant funding to still make it happen. Yeah. And we still have our grant application into the MPSC, but we still won't know that until the end of the year. So if that happens, we can get some money from them. So that was it. Just wanted to give you a little update. We tried. We continue.
Thank you, Dan.
All right.
Mayor. It's been 45 minutes.
All right. Okay, so go to our sign up. We will come back to you after the business has been done. So we get to you if you don't want to speak anymore. If you're not here, then we'll just keep going. And so thank you so far. What I do want to say before we move on is I would love to get some info on here on this stuff to see what's happening over there.
Yeah,
Please. Thank you. As well as figuring out the resolution if it's gonna come to us, because for transparency, we did not receive that.
If I may, they are correct. It was my fault, my mistake. The HRC did pass it, at their meeting, and I just didn't have it together. So you didn't get it. You'll get it at your next meeting. In fact, you'll get it sooner than that. It will be on the agenda.
Thank you. Okay. Council member Tucson, you have.
I do.
Ordinance 1452.
I do. So resolution number 2025-176 resolved by the council of the city of Ypsilanti, whereas the city of Ypsilanti is committed to ensuring the highest standards of fire safety and life safety for residents, businesses, and visitors. And whereas the National Fire Protection Association has published the 2024 edition of NFPA 1 Fire Code, which incorporates updated provisions reflecting current fire safety practices, technological advancements, and lessons learned from recent events. And whereas the 2024 edition of NFPA 1 includes significant updates in areas such as outdoor cooking appliances, powered micro mobility devices, in-building emergency communication systems, battery storage and handling, fire alarm systems, and lead removal. Whereas adopting the 2024 edition of NFPA 1 will ensure that the city of Ypsilanti maintains compliance with the latest fire safety standards and best practices. And whereas the adoption of the 2024 edition of NFPA 1 will promote consistency with neighboring jurisdictions and facilitate safer construction, renovation, and occupancy practices. Now therefore be it resolved that the Ypsilanti City Council takes all necessary actions to implement the provisions of the 2024 edition of NFPA 1, including ordinance number 1452 entitled an ordinance to amend chapter 50 fire prevention and protection, article 2 upon first reading. Be it further resolved that the city manager is directed to take all necessary actions to implement the provisions of 2024 edition of the NFPA 1, including updating city codes, ordinances, and enforcement procedures as required. Be it further resolved that the city clerk shall provide copies of this resolution to the appropriate city departments, boards, and commissions to ensure timely and effective implementation, and I so move.
Support. Been moved by Councilmember Tucson, supported by Councilmember McLean and Councilmember King. Is there a presentation for us on this, or we have additional information?
I will just add, this is just an update of the code, this is the newest version, we were using the 2018 code, this is just simply an update.
All right, so I'm gonna open the public hearing on this. If there's any member of the audience who would like to address council on this matter, which is the fire prevention code, please raise your hand. Ready?
What's up, everybody? What can you also is, what is that?
We're gonna discuss it.
Okay.
So that's what you want to know? Okay. Any others who would like to address council on this matter? All right, seeing none, Councilmember Tucson, please close the public hearing.
Resolution number 2025-177, resolved by the council of the city of Ypsilanti that the public hearing for proposed ordinance 1452 entitled an ordinance to amend chapter 50 fire prevention and protection, article 2 fire prevention code be officially closed, and I so move.
Been moved by Councilmember Tucson, supported by Councilmember King. All in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Okay, is it possible, fire marshal or fire chief, could someone explain for the good of the public what this is? That we're voting on? Thank you.
Good evening, council. All right. So basically, we're operating out of the 2018 version. So we're 7-8 years outdated. So with the 2024 edition that we're going to be running, basically it keeps the community safer. There's more laws and codes that are being implemented, and as of right now, we're not implementing them codes. You have EVs, you have electric vehicles, e-bikes, stuff like that, battery storage, and that is stuff that we need to be serious about here in the community. We also have new renovations. We also have new buildings that's going up. And with this new code, that makes us enforce these fire codes to the strictest T. So basically, that's why we're implementing this new code here.
So fundamentally, this is just bringing us up to current standards, so that we
Yes.
are implementing the correct things and keeping up with the times as well, right?
That's right, because we're almost 8 years
Yeah,
out.
but,
So
okay. Thank you. There were questions. Councilmember
Sure.
McLean had up first, and then Councilmember Simmons.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of quick questions. First, how often is this code updated?
Well, normally it's updated every 3 or 4 years, so our next update probably be 2027.
Has it been updated since 2018?
No, well, NFPA, yes, but through the city, no. So
Right.
we had the 21 version, then we got the 24 version.
Is there any reason we never implemented the 2020 version?
Well, we just got the 24 version, so once you get the 21 version, you wanna wait a minute until some new updates come in, and it came in the 24 edition. So we're implementing the 24 edition.
It sounds like we missed one. Was that right?
Well, you don't wanna implement every 3 years, because there may be just 1 or 2 changes, but there are a lot of changes that's in the 24 edition. With the EVs coming out and things like that.
So if I understand you correctly, you wouldn't recommend just because they made a change that we
Correct.
adopt, but in cases where they make significant changes,
Then you
then you
wanna
would
update
recommend
the
that we
code,
do it.
correct.
And can you speak, Mayor, thank you. One specific provision of this, there's a mention that lead issues are included. Can you say how those provisions change?
So normally the EPA, they do all the lead changes, but if we're renovating buildings, then I have the ability to tell them that lead cannot be used. Or if they're building new construction, lead will not be used while building that new building.
Would we have allowed that previous to adopting this?
Well, you wouldn't allow it, but the thing is, contractors do take cuts. So if it's there, they don't wanna remove it, it'll be there, we don't catch it.
Just wanna make sure we're doing everything we need to protect from lead, is that what it said?
You're right.
Professional judgment, we're doing that with adoption of this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilmember Simmons.
Oh, my question was that.
Oh, further questions for Fire Marshal Pope? Chairperson?
When I was looking at stuff online, I found the language, it's a very lengthy document. It's pretty extensive. The history of this organization is that it was started by insurance companies. And so one of the questions I have is whether this is a voluntary enactment of a code that's suggested by non-governmental entities that was started by insurance companies about firing. So I'm wondering how much of that, I'm kind of skeptical about insurance. So, so it's like, in that 700 pages, I'm wondering if you're being held to something that is not in the best interest of our citizens, but in the interest of the insurance company.
No, I said the best interest of the citizens. So there's just 700 pages in one book. You have thousands and thousands of code. NFPA 101, life safety. That's basically for hospitals, existing buildings, new buildings, like the buildings that's going up now. So the codes are strictly for the safety of the community, the tenants, and it also keeps the contractors from cutting corners. And that's our main concern, is life safety for the citizens of Ypsilanti.
Thank you. Further questions or comments from council? Seeing none, thank you, Fire Marshal Pope.
Thank you.
And if there are none, then clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen. Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Phelps.
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Councilmember King.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. All right. It is freezing. Freezing. Thank you. My nose is burning. Thank you very much. I'm just saying. We are at our discussion of I know some folks are hot, of the beer cooler. Per our agenda, we are limited to 20 minutes or less for this discussion. And I'm gonna take the liberty of also allowing Mr. Witherspoon to give us an update and some feedback on what he has been working on with the business owners, so that we know and for the good of the public. But first I wanna start with council, if you will, or do you wanna hear from Mr. Witherspoon first? Do you want to talk about what you're doing, right?
I mean, I'm not going to, I'm trying to make you say what you say. I'm not.
He's making a comment on behalf of, if I'm not mistaken, or
What?
whatever conversation they had.
Yeah.
Good, get it right here.
Yeah, thank you.
Can we get 20 minutes on the clock?
Don't need that at all.
No, it's for all of us, not just you. All right, good.
For y'all who don't know me, my name is Duran. I'm gonna just.
And also just address council and talk to the mic.
Duran Witherspoon Senior, CEO of Power Peace Enterprises. First, I'm gonna speak personally as a resident and business owner of Washington County in Ypsilanti, Southside, Ward 1. My personal opinion about the beer cooler situation is a Black woman was attacked by employees at one of our historical landmark establishments on Black Lives Matter Boulevard. A street that I personally got my hands dirty to repay. Professionally as a business owner, I believe, frankly speaking, that the owner wasn't present. So if I was here with any person, white, yellow, black, or brown, if you wasn't there and you didn't send an order, there's nothing we can do on the side of trying to make it right for your employees and things. That's just my universal opinion. But He's been, doing everything that the community has asked us to do from where my intake, not nobody else. I'm solely speaking on myself and my organization and my crisis committee through the Next Level Alliance, and which some of you are involved in. They asked for more lighting there before the establishment was reopened. He has replaced all the lights, and all the lights are around there. He added additional lights as well. They asked for more security. He asked for 5 more cameras that can see all the way from the post office to the tap room. They asked for him to make the store more welcoming to the majority demographic of patrons there, which is Black people. So he has. He is also still willing to do what he needs to do to prove to this community as a whole, on top of firing individuals that did that. He is not a Washington County native. He does not live in Ipsy. He asked me to come help him with the situation. I spoke to his employee the day of the Monday after it happened. I went way to Lansing about an hour and a half out, and he asked me how could he show that he genuinely cared. I said you need to come interact with your community and the customers that have put money in your pocket. So he left his family, and he's been in here with me working just like somebody else, trying to do everything, whoever's personally confronted him in a respectful manner. He's been obliged. So I'm not giving a public statement or nothing here. I'm just saying as somebody, if I was in that shoes, speaking from where I come from, being a returning citizen, I would like to get my parole. You know what I'm saying? If I did something, I paid my debt to society, I would like to get my second chance. So, I want to bring notice to the other things here, because I see a lot of stuff on social media and I haven't been trying to address it, but this is my platform to be respectful and be the prototype of what you're supposed to do when you want your voice heard the proper way. I haven't kind of too much addressed no social media, but we have took on 3 community crises inside of Ypsilanti, Michigan. The first one was
Mr. Witherspoon, so this is about the beer cooler discussion, so that's what we wanna talk about.
all right, well.
But we can definitely talk about the other things.
I don't know how this goes, I thought it's my only time to speak, and
I'll let you know whenever.
I wasn't able to sign the paper. Y'all all know I'm here every 2 weeks supporting y'all. And I wanna make it plain right now to whoever behind me that I haven't seen in here. It shouldn't take somebody's social media coming and let y'all voice be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Witherspoon. We just want an update on what was happening, and so now council's gonna have our discussion, but if you do have a question for either of you, are you willing to answer those?
Due to the threats and stuff that I've been getting, this lady hit me in the back of my chair saying crazy stuff in my ear. I'm leaving as soon as I make my public statement about the other situation that I'm here.
Thank you.
Did he want to say something?
I think he wanted to. He didn't.
I mean,
So council, this discussion is for us. So we're gonna move forward. The floor is open. Councilmember Fellows.
Well, I did check in with the city manager. If you want to share as a starting point, the information that is publicly known.
Sure. As a just starting point, and we posted this on our social media, the prosecutor has charged the 2 individuals involved. So it's an ongoing prosecution, so can't discuss much of it right now. It's in the prosecutor's hands, and I'll give it back to council.
Councilmember Fellows, would you? Or, okay.
Yeah. My statement really is just to appreciate this community. I have a lot of gratitude for residents here for giving a damn about these types of situations and speaking up for justice. And I know that we are, this is an active investigation, and so the details are going to be sorted out and litigated there, but it is also being litigated in public discourse, as we know. And it's clear that, there is a asymmetry of burden and violence that Black and brown women and men, especially poor Black and brown women and men, endure. And from enduring microaggression to state enforced violence. the disproportion is known. And, you know, we see that in daily life, but unfortunately, even in a place like Ypsilanti, which obviously cares a lot about, issues of, racial justice and ending systemic racism, these, historical markers of violence have continued, and I do see it within the regressive forces within the government here too. And I also want to acknowledge, that, you know, along with more enduring of violence, Black women also do the lion's share of domestic and workforce labor, do a lion's share of social cohesion work, and do far more for less in our society. And that is also unjust. And so I would love to see in my lifetime some sort of sea change, so it's not always the case where, you know, the social order is maintained as it is, and we always expect these type of outcomes and these type of incidents to occur in our community. And it does start here in Ypsilanti, in a place like this, with our history, with our people. It starts here, and it starts with our city government as well. And I think the last thing I want to mention is just, it does tie into current work that's happening in our government, from our unanimous resolution to support unarmed crisis response, as well as a permanent shelter in Ypsilanti. And it also unfortunately ties into work that the city is doing to increase enforcement downtown. And so that conversation must continue. There are still efforts in our government to increase enforcement, basically to the October resolution, but with extra steps. And so I do want to talk about that more as those things come more to the public.
Well, I just want to say tonight, when I seen the video, I just got home from work at about 1:30 in the morning. And for me, it was very alarming. I could not sleep, and I knew my first step was to go to the beer cooler the first thing in the morning, and that is what I did. I wanted the owners to know that this type of disrespect, this type of assault cannot happen in our community. And I wanted to also know if they knew the protocol, because what I seen was not protocol in the video. So I went to the beer cooler and I allowed my voice to be heard. And I wanted to say here tonight, I will not allow this type of behavior happen in my community.
Yes, thank you. I think that a couple of things that folks have brought up that are really important, which is to understand that this incident didn't happen in a vacuum. Even since this has come forward, people have said, oh, this isn't the first time, this isn't the only place that this is happening in other spots as well. We know that when things get caught on video, it brings light to things, sometimes making what might have been invisible visible. And I think one of the things that's always hard, from being on council, is that we aren't always able to do through policies and procedures what folks want us to do. But I always say, I'm on council only some of the time. The rest of the time, I'm just in the community and organizing, and that there's actually a lot of power in that space. And so I encourage folks to think about what that looks like, and how to exert some of that power. The other thing I would say is that, to the conversation about what the community's demands are, I do think it's important when we talk about reconciliation, healing, and process, that it's important for there to be space for the community to fully voice their concern to the parties that have done harm. And so that would include actually a different kind of community meeting and forum than what we're able to host here with the owner. To actually hear those, and for there to be then what is the fullness of what people are looking for. I'm sure some people wanted more cameras. I'm sure some people did not want more cameras. I'm one of the people that did not want more cameras. I didn't know that happened because I walk around down there. I don't like to be tracked like that. But I think that, so I think that that's important because I wouldn't want there to be a situation where some people's desires are being addressed because they are, more easily swallowed or something, and then the other things are not. So how do we actually deal with these in a hard way? So I think there's definitely a role that we play as the city, as a place creating safety for all, and the role of community. And so I want to say that I support efforts in community. And then also that part of what we need to do, and I think we are doing some in some ways, and that there's more that we can do to address really some of the circumstances that surround this in terms of vulnerable populations, in terms of how people respond, like what are the possibilities if there's issues within any of our businesses, who do they have to call? And making sure that it's clear what that looks like. And then also after harm is done, how people feel cared for in that moment too. The last thing I would say, and this is a question I have, which is just in terms of, again, just because this happened in this one place, which I think we need to address what that is, but also how do we ensure that it doesn't happen any other place? How do we ensure that this is not something that is recurring? Because we know that even at other establishments, especially other liquor stores, that there are things that happen around and outside of them. I know in Ward 3, there's been things that have happened outside of other stores like Tom's and other party stores. And so I just wonder about, as we think about what this is, if there's things that we put in place that actually make it so that something like this can't happen elsewhere.
I would like to say thank you to the individuals in like the residents and the community organizers who came together to rally around this individual who unfortunately experienced these things. To see the community coming together down there on Washington Street. I'm talking about Mr. Weatherspoon, Mr. Adrian, the brothers from Supreme Felons, Trisha Duckworth, and so on and so forth. I appreciate y'all coming down and showing y'all support and rallying around getting injustice done properly, getting it fixed. Thank you.
Further comments from council?
Besides the problem, people who had brought that up. A lot of the things that Desiree made. This was the one event that was caught on. I'm sure there are more, and there always are. My wife's a business owner down the street. She has been coming forward to the police with situations there involving kids that are in her program. Trying to address that with the previous owners. And so that has been a problem for quite some time. So I agree that we can't give this, there are certain things we can do and certain things we can't do. part of it has to do with the investigation, but also, the remedies that we have. And so it's important that, the community, and we engage in other ways to address this ongoing problem, and it's not just at this site. You know, going across the street, there's things going on out there all the time, and Michigan Avenue, that's correctly addressed, but this is a horrific thing to be in the store and be beaten. Or something is monitors throwing something over this is ridiculous, but, so I look forward to working with the community and with the council members too. To find a resolution to this, I have not met you as the current owner yet, and so I'd like to talk with you after the session. About what can happen within that store. You know, this is. The bigger problem is we have liquor stores that serve communities, but we don't have grocery stores.
Yeah.
What is available in the store besides liquor that's going on, you know, they talk about buying liquor on credit, you know, it's sustaining the issues. And so we need to find different ways to provide the community needs in the sources. I did have a question for Councilmember King in terms of whether you said something about whether the employees knew what the protocol.
So I'm referring to a protocol, they put two employees put their hands on a customer, right? So what is the protocol if a customer is out of control or whatever the reason? So what's the protocol be? And so I would think that's calling 911.
Yeah.
Protocol, the police, thank you. Tell them, say everything you want to add, and anybody else.
What, there was Carrie saying?
Thank you, Mayor. My colleagues have articulated well, I think, a lot of the concerns here this evening. And I share those concerns and share the sense of outrage at what happened in this particular case, but I think, also Councilmember Simmons, put her hand on it well when she said, well, what do we do to keep this from happening in the future? And so I think one of the answers to that certainly is an engaged citizenry coming forward. I think there's, my sense is, I'll speak for myself, but my sense is that there's a lot of support for what you said to us on this panel here tonight. But as always, the devil is in the details, and so how do we grapple with this, right? We can all say we don't like at all what happened. But what do we do to keep it from happening? And some of these are systemic issues that permeate our broader society well beyond the boundaries of Ypsilanti. But still, we need to grapple with these problems here at home. And I trust that my colleagues and I will put our heads together, share our best thinking, communicate with all of you, and figure out what can be done within our charter, or do we need to look at the changes? That was the first speaker that we heard. But what we need to do to set some of the laws, to look at what are the laws, what are the sanctions, and are they adequate? Because we don't want this to happen again, and we certainly don't want to do anything that would allow it or incentivize it. Thank you.
Thank you.
20 minutes.
All right, well, I'm the last person, so I'll just say something. I do want to, yes.
I was just saying, he walked back up, so I was wondering if he had something to say.
Sure. You have something you'd like to share with them?
Hello, everybody. My name is Supriya Singh. I represent all the community, and I follow all the rules. Whatever they happen, the will be a party store. I'll probably go to comply. So I will follow all the rules, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And so I think what Mr. Singh has shared, he's also shared before. And what I will say to not belabor the points, because I think I agree with much of what all of my colleagues have said, was that, you know, I hadn't even seen the video, but I received many calls the next morning. And so the first thing I did was go down to the beer cooler where I met Councilmember King. And some of the things that have been shared with us from the community as well, we actually shared that very day with the owner. privately because there was so much commotion that we were able to go in and have a conversation with him around changes to the store, around the idea of removing things from the store that, you know, negatively impact or help to further harm people in our community. Talking about changes that could be made and then allowing the business owner to also come with some ideas, right? To not give the solutions, but also have them do some of that work, and that's what equity as well, to figure out what they can do to be different in our community. Again, they've shared that we've gotten a lot of reports about the space under previous ownership. And you know, nothing, no matter who is in ownership, makes it okay for what we saw in that video at all. Accountability is very important. I mean, it was very triggering to me. I've told people before, when I saw the video, finally, she looked just like my aunt. Literally, she could have been my aunt. And so when I see signs, right, about protecting Black women and making sure that, you know, that enough is enough and that we're moving our community forward in the best way, in the most meaningful way possible, I think about a lot of different spaces, not just in acts of violence, but also like verbal assaults that many of us receive, not only on the streets, but also in here, right? Myself and my colleagues, for different reasons from different people. And so I just encourage folks to think about all of that when we're having these conversations, that it's not just about, you know, someone putting their hands on someone, it's about how we treat each other and how we treat other people in this community, because that's where it begins. And when we don't respect people, even verbally, that's what leads to people putting their hands on others, right? And feeling like they can do it. Because if I can say what I want to you, then I know I can do what I want to you. And that is something I've seen largely in this community. Unfortunately, I got an email today with city manager, you know, I'll bring it up to you about things being posted around the community, not only about my colleagues and I, but also about business owners and everybody. I mean, there's a lot happening in IPSI. And so I would implore folks to take a deeper look inside of ourselves as well as we're thinking about this. While we're holding particular individuals accountable, absolutely, we let the legal process go. This is a really good opportunity for some reflection, right? And for us to look at ourselves and think about what kind of community we want to be and what kind of people we want to be going forward, and what we want people to think of when they think of Ypsilanti. I don't want us to be on the news for these reasons. I want us to be on the news for the good things and the great things that are happening in IPSI, not just with government, but with our community members. Because there are tremendous things happening in Ypsilanti. Ypsilanti is a very special place. And so it's really disheartening that we even have to have this conversation, this dialogue, that we have to be here, that we have to be waiting for the outcome of legal proceedings, but also we have to feel unsafe going forward because people are very polarized on this issue. And that's a little scary to me personally, that there's even dissonance on that. In terms of our community organizers and the folks who came out and who were on the front lines, when I showed up, I'm grateful, forever grateful to folks who are brave enough to stand up in the face of injustice, and to work together. You know, organizations who typically, you know, are doing their own thing, were able to come together. And even if we don't all agree on the methods chosen, I'm just appreciative that people have a voice and want to talk about what we can do to be better and to move forward. And I do agree that there needs to be another forum or platform for this conversation to continue. And I know that there is one planned on the 19th by Mr. Weatherspoon's organization. Where and I'll share that information in a little bit. I think I have it. Okay, I'll share it. Where is it?
Well, I didn't want to pick your place because I don't know how this stuff's gonna flare out, so we just.
So you don't have a place
we
yet?
gave the more times for everybody to come.
Okay, so we can talk about it
He's willing to
after.
come on the 19th.
Okay, we can talk about it after and try to help support you to figure out where you can hold the event. If you don't already have an idea, but also I think it's an opportunity for community just to come together. And it, again, everybody's not gonna agree on the methodology of what to do, but dialogue is what gets us closer to an answer. In terms of what we can do as a body, I've heard consensus on this day is now that folks we wanna look at our ordinances, we wanna see if there are changes that need to be made. And also, this has been something that I've cared deeply about, and I've shared many times around, you know, ending the food desert in Ypsilanti and figuring out how do we have like a full service grocery store in this community. That is a dream of which, and I don't know how we're gonna do it, we gotta figure it out. And there are spaces that are being occupied where we have duplicates of the same things.
Absolutely.
Where we try to figure out how do we shift, right, to a space that allows for people to be able to get food for their families, in a walkable, you know, bikeable proximity. And so, yeah, I appreciate everyone. I know this was a very emotionally triggering experience for many, and I tell folks, if they haven't seen the video, don't watch it. at this point, we know what happened. We don't need to keep re-traumatizing ourselves watching someone, you know, be brutalized. And so I think we'll close the comments with that, just knowing that we are standing with you. We are doing what we can do on the legal side. There's things we cannot say, things we cannot do. But we are doing the most that we can in terms of on this side of the table, but we are with you, and I clearly was with you day after day after day last week, and at the beer cooler as well in community. So thank you all so much, and thank you, council. All right, so we'll close that discussion. And we will move into our resolutions, motions, and discussions. And Councilmember Fellows, you have 170.
Resolved by the council of the city of Ypsilanti. City of Ypsilanti that the minutes of August 12th, 2025, regular city council meeting be approved and I so move.
Then moved by Councilmember Fellows, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen. Councilmember Smith.
Just quick, I don't know. I was just wondering because during that meeting, we had this whole conversation about the DDA appointment. And that the mayor had to nominate and this whole thing, and then there's a thing where the mayor said, yes, you know. So I'm just wondering whether that should be noted in the minutes, that the mayor did agree with the nomination or in some way indicate that. Just because we did spend time.
If you'd like me to add something, I can. It is not an actionable item. I don't think you could hold the mayor to it if she decided to change that policy. But if you'd like me to, I can absolutely. I mean, we know the mayor has said this is the way she's going to proceed, but it's not the policy, right?
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if there's something that we should be noting or not. Like, I'm fine with not.
In terms of when I said like, I support it, we can move forward, or the policy?
Yes, because it was the whole thing about like, was it coming forward? And then I think basically you were like, well, either way, this is fine, then yes, I do support, you know, so I wasn't sure if there's something we should know officially or not to show that we are in compliance with what the state law is. That was all. If it doesn't matter, it's fine. I just was bringing it up just because I was like, I know we spent time on it during that.
That's a good point. I see what you're saying. It almost, like, maybe we need to change the rule. Maybe we'll need a resolution moving forward. As I look through the rules, if we indeed want to make the, our rules, match up with the DDA bylaws, right? So that it might actually need a change, as opposed to, just noting something in the minutes over our discussion. If it's acceptable with you, I will take a look at the rules, see, you know, what they say, and then I can at least present a memo to you, to council, to determine whether, you know, you wanna make that change or not. I mean, because we wanted to be in compliance. That was basically where council had gotten, was that, you know, the DDA rules say that it should be the mayor, that brings forward the nominations. And we went back and forth a lot, and I think we didn't enact any laws or any regulation because we had someone here that we wanted to appoint. We didn't want to cause any more trouble for that appointee, and we just knew that we were in agreement and could move forward.
Yeah.
So it might mean legislation coming later.
Yeah, right, we didn't close the loop on the discussion about, are we gonna codify to what the state statute says or not? So yeah, we would need to put something, if we're gonna go to that, we would need to put something on the table.
So how about, would you be acceptable with that if I sort of showed you I'll present the legislation to council and you can determine whether you want to move forward one way or another with it? Is that?
You know, I was just.
I know what you meant.
I understand too, and so if you want me to put something in, I will. I just, like I said, you know me, I'm like actionable items.
Yeah.
But it's your choice. If you think that I should note something, and I can kind of note something about it and say that it'll be for further discussion.
Yeah,
Now
that
bring
sounds
it
good to
forward.
me. That sounds good. Thank you.
Well, never mind, we can talk about it later, it's fine. And further comments on the minutes, I was gonna ask Randy a question, because you gave us an opinion, and so what was the expectation, like, with the opinion, meaning, do you legally recommend that we follow the state statute, or can we decide not to?
I can't decide now.
Okay, so that's why I'm asking.
I won't use that name, but I'll instead
Right.
of using that particular name, it's the state statute.
Okay.
It's precedence. For all of
Okay, so that's why I'm asking the question. That would mean that we don't have, there's no discussion. If that is truly the opinion that we need to comply with the state statute. And
But
so-
does it need to be so does it
Right,
need to
so
be
you-
noted in a certain way, because obviously others besides the mayor, so even when we read something, I mean, that's how. Based on what is noted is based on who's like reading things in, right? So is there something that needs to be noted in there or not? It's just more like
In
if-
the minutes, it should likely reflect that the mayor has nominated.
Right, I should get a nominator. Right.
If council, I suppose, it might be just a question asked clerk. Council would like to indicate in the record that a particular candidate was recommended for nomination by Councilmember Simmons, Councilmember Jackson. Then that certainly can be done, but ultimately the decision to accept that nomination, make that nomination directly to the council body as a whole.
So then could we, in our minutes, leave it as it is, but then add that the mayor accepted the nomination? Because that is what.
For clarity. so
For
that
the
it
record,
follows the-
yeah.
Yeah.
So if the minutes can be amended, just to say the mayor accepted this nomination.
Absolutely, I will do that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, anything else for the, oh, okay, anything else for the minutes? All right, seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Fellows,
Yes.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Member King,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Very unanimous.
Thank you. Councilmember Fellows, you have 23, you want G up. The consulting one? Yeah, did you see a sign? Oh, okay.
Resolution number 2025-183, resolution to approve 1-year contract with governmental consulting services Inc. It is resolved by council of city of Ypsilanti that a contract with governmental consulting services Inc. will be extended for 1 year from October 1st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026. On the terms set forth in the attached contract for consideration of $3,000 per month. Retainer, and I so move.
Support. Been moved by Councilmember Fellows, supported by Councilmember King.
Council, this is essentially a mirror contract from the last one that was approved. Wayne is here, to answer any questions, if you may have them, but it's the contract, only different years.
Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion? Councilmember Fellows?
Yeah, I would like to hear, I mean, from, like, essentially a new contract, so understanding what, deliverables are we are getting from the services. Yep.
Good evening, Mr. Gill, happy birthday.
Thank you so much for that, there's no place I would rather.
We've
all done it, so.
Many birthdays here.
Thank you, I appreciate it, but thank you so much, and, council member, I appreciate you asking for me to come forward. My name is Dwayne Gill, I'm a member of, Governmental Consulting Services Incorporated. Tonight, I'm just gonna give you just a brief overview of who we are, what we do, how we do it, what we've done, and what we plan to do. We are GCSI is a multi-client lobbying firm in the city of Lansing, and we work on behalf of the city of Ypsilanti to advocate to the legislature for the city of Ypsilanti. How we do it, daily monitoring of legislation and policy that is affecting the city. I keep everyone, the city manager, the mayor, and members of the council aware of what's going on in legislature when it comes to budget and policy and things of that nature that may affect the city of Ypsilanti. What we've done, we've advocated for grant dollars, money for infrastructure here in the city. I've been able to advocate for grant dollars for fire department, for bridges, infrastructure, and revenue sharing for the city of Ypsilanti. What we plan to do is to continue to do that on a daily basis, monitor the budget process, and continue building relationships on behalf of the city of Ypsilanti.
and put forward all budget requests and things that are necessary to make sure that this place, that the city is, taken care of, in Lansing as represented to the legislature. I am just an extension of, your city government. I like to say that I'm your government relations person, but I'm in that remote location in Lansing. So with that being said, I'll be happy to answer any particular questions that you might have. But it's been a pleasure for the past 3 years to work on behalf of the city. I have been able to obtain a significant amount of funds for the city, and I continue to work toward that goal. As you all know, right now, the state is in a crisis as far as a budget stalemate. The Senate has passed its budget. The House has passed its budget, and obviously the governor has made their recommendation. However, a budget has not been passed yet. We're not sure if there's going to be a budget, if there's going to be a budget on October 1st, or if there's going to be a state closure or state shutdown. But I continue to monitor and keep you informed on what's going on in Lansing, and hopefully we don't get to that point. But in the meantime, I'm your guy in Lansing, and I hope this continue to be so.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm gonna pose a question.
Yeah, I believe I saw something at some point, but just like how, because I'm not seeing reports of grant funding being secured, so how do we know what kind of work you're doing?
Okay, well, what happens is, I know that, last year during the budget from, for 24 and 25, we did receive a $3 million grant, in revenue from the state. Right now, I know that during the budget season, I have, submitted budget requests from the city of Ypsilanti, and we're currently awaiting, just like everybody else in the state, on the legislature to either come up with the budget and either award funds for the city of Ypsilanti or not. So right now, we're all just waiting.
So I think what's happening is I sent an email probably that was a few months ago, asking for our newer council members to be added to those updates that you.
Oh,
office
yeah,
sent out,
I do.
So they know what you all.
I never got the email today.
It wasn't to you,
Oh.
it was to the person who sends those. Should I send it to you?
You should send it to me, because I'm the one that sends those budget updates, well, sends the weekly updates.
Okay.
And I do send a weekly update, I'm sorry. it was-
Sorry, there was that not receiving the other name, but I thought I.
Oh, yeah, it was probably Kim.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so.
But I send it out every single week.
Okay, so we can make sure that everybody gets on that list too.
Okay, please.
But everybody, yeah, the emails are.
Oh, yes, I'll be happy.
Okay, thank, if you could add those.
Yeah.
I don't have mine right now.
Okay.
I can send you an email just with everybody's stuff on it, like I'll forward you the other one. Cause we tried to add so that they would get the updates.
Yeah.
I don't think the turnover of council was codified.
Okay, no worries. No worries.
And then,
But yeah, another question I have is how many municipalities or townships, jurisdictions you are representing currently as far as
Me personally,
GSCS?
personally, my portfolio consists of the city of Ypsilanti, city of Flint, city of Inkster, Pittsfield Township, and the county of Washington.
Can I ask a question, to add on to this?
Sure.
Does your firm also represent other jurisdictions within Washington County?
Yes, we represent, Ypsilanti Township as well. But that's not on my portfolio. That's another, township.
In the contract that we have, or the one that we're renewing, is there, I suppose there's these emails, but is there a quarterly or, annual report being requested for the work, like the deliverables from your agency?
I'm not sure if, I think we discussed about doing some reports quarterly, but I'd be happy to make sure that that is taken care of. However, I have been sending out weekly reports of what's going on in Lansing, but I'd be happy to, nail down quarterly reports on behalf of the city if that's needed. That's no problem. We can definitely.
Councilmember Simmons?
Hi,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
So I have a couple of things. One, I mean, there's some things like in the contract that said that we would be getting quarterly visits or that you would be coming. And to me, that would mean like giving specific updates for the city, because I do get the updates, but those aren't necessarily specific for us, you know. I was just saying, I feel like for me, from my point of view, I feel like we have a very expensive subscription service.
Okay.
Because it's nice to know, but I mean, to be honest, it's like a fire hose. It's not always relevant to us. It's not necessarily based on things that we're putting forward. I think the challenges too, some of the things that we need in Ypsilanti to be happening at the state level is not likely to be happening. Just in general. It's not on you, it's on the state of our politics.
True.
But I'm just not sure that any of those things are moving, and when I hear, and so I always ask, I feel like each time this comes around, I'm asking the same questions, like, would we not get these grants if it weren't for you being in that space, based on the work that our staff is doing, based on the work that other elected officials are doing? For me, it feels like we should all be working together and that these things should be happening.
Yeah.
It's interesting kind of hearing you describing as like our government relations person, like, so I'm kind of chewing on that a little bit.
Okay.
But I think about, $36,000 is not a lot of money, but it is not nothing.
True.
Especially when we're talking about some of the issues that we have. I'm like, how many potholes can $36,000 fill? Can I go down Washington Street? I'm just saying, so this is no disrespect to you at all.
I'm not taking it.
So this is just, I just always have a challenge with it. I did know in your weekly update, which I wanna say to folks, I know people have been actually contacting me about this, is that that you put out that the House, they sponsored that bill to require transgender students use restrooms and locker rooms, which did pass along party lines, but you noted in your update that that's not expected to move in the Senate, so may it be so. But, so there are things like that, I do, like I say, I do look at them every so often. But it's hard to kind of really see what that looks like for us. So, I mean, this might be a question too for some of our staff that have worked on this. I know in the past, there were conversations about support on the grant for Penn Dam. I know that there's been, as we've gotten these monies, from the senator's office, and things like that, but it really always, it kind of puts me a little bit in a bind, I would say, on this.
Okay, and I understand that, and I appreciate you being honest, and I don't take anything personal, but I'd be happy to discuss all these things with you. I mean, this communication goes two ways as well, I can honestly say that the mayor and I, we do talk. I like to say, I don't want to say on a regular basis, but we do talk and we do communicate. I'd love to be able to communicate with more of the city council. I mean, if you have questions, you know how to get a hold of me as well, Councilmember Simmons. I'd be happy to hear from you, and especially if you have some priorities or some things that you have questions about. I can't act on them unless I know about it. So I would be happy to go over things with you, had I known, that you had some concerns about certain things and whatnot. So, I can make an effort, absolutely, to engage on a more frequent basis with you, especially if you have some priorities or some concerns that you'd like to share with me.
I will just, my pushback to that is that, your monthly pay is almost my yearly pay. Right? So I think that we're just in a little bit of a different circumstance around that, I will say.
No problem.
And the other thing is, it's hard because I know that you're getting priorities from the city. And I remember we did have some conversations when you first started. And And I would say that a lot of the things that we talked about, right, didn't make it onto the list. There were a lot of great things that were on there, primarily things from our DPW department and things of that sort, which.
And those things are still on there, those things.
You know, so I don't even know necessarily how the things that we would put forward actually gets on there, because they didn't make it last time.
No, I'll wait.
Thank you, Mayor. Through these questions, I sense two lines of concern perhaps, and one is on individual perhaps communication and going forward, and I'm confident we can rectify that. But I also sense some perhaps discomfort, and maybe I'm reading into that, with the whole idea of having a lobbyist. And I want to be very explicit that I think it is critical that we have effective lobbying capability in Lansing. As somebody who has I worked for 11 years in state government, not in this state, but that's like you haven't seen me, but the state down south from here. But I know the role that lobbyists play, and I know the importance of cities, large and small, having effective lobbyists. It's critical, and it's in some ways it is like the medical care, the doctor that you have, and you may go 3 or 4 years and you don't need that doctor, and good for you, right? Those are good years when you don't need the doctor. And we may not need the lobbyist for a whole lot of things certain years, but until you do.
Yes, sir.
Until you really do. And so when I was at the city of Toledo, I introduced, I was a finance director there, and I brought my state government experience there, and I said, we need a lobbyist, because Toledo was spending a whole lot of time complaining about how we didn't get any largesse from state government, from Columbus, and it was all going to the 3 seats. Well, guess what? All 3 of the 3 seats, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland, all had good lobbyists.
Yes, sir.
And so we brought some folks in, and we did some things that would not have happened but for those lobbyists. So it's important that we have the communication, but I also want to say that it's just critically important. I would be remiss if I didn't say how important I think it is for us to have the role that you're playing. I look forward to working with you. I certainly hope that my colleagues will be supportive of this contract. I think it's money well spent. And moving forward.
Well, thank you for your comments, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the comments to chat with me, and I promise to definitely move forward with better communications.
Thank you. Councilmember Fellows, you had something? Yeah, I guess, well, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
You're very charming. I believe in your skills.
Thank you.
It is hard for me, and on principle, I'm just against lobbying. But on principle, I'm just against lobbying and politics. But I realize that the system we are in right now, almost requires some level of it. That said, you know, a lot of us communicate, with the state reps. I'm talking to Jeff Irwin right now about the budget. I'm trying to understand what the process is, because $50 million for Copperwood Mine is being discussed as being a part of this budget, and there's a lot of pushback against it statewide, and it's still, we're not sure if it's gonna be a part of the budget, but we have no communication. So this is not like, and we can rectify this, I understand, but like council member Simmons said, the 36,000, it's not maybe the biggest of deals, but we could not pass a raise for all of us to a total of $30,000.
I understand.
Which is less than this contract, and we are already doing the work of contacting the state reps and their, national reps as well, so it just feels a little hard in that way. So it's not personal to you. I think just on principle, on the basis of also not receiving communication about any of this until now, like I'm gonna vote no for now, but I expect this to pass. So if it does, I hope that we can be in communication and see if we can have more alignment around the state and the municipal government.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so what I was gonna say, mirrored a lot of what Councilmember McLean stated around the necessity of lobbying. What I can also add is that in the years that I've been on city council, we have had several lobbyists. And trying to be kind. Respectfully, you are the best one that we've had.
I appreciate it. That's
The things that we receive and the updates that we get, we were not getting anything prior to Mr. Gill becoming our lobbyist, even comparable. And while, yes, I do work with our state senator and our state representative, I also have, by way of Mr. Gill, on behalf of the city, been able to be in spaces directly with the folks who are making decisions about the dollars that are being, expended and delineated out to different communities. And I think that, without some of those touch points in previous years, even, the work on the dam, all these other issues that we've brought forward for our DPS department, along with our state reps, of course, may not have happened if other relationships were not leveraged to make sure that we had consensus around like the need for Ypsilanti. And so I do think that this is something that's very important for us. And you have, for sure, I would say, even since I've been mayor, made sure that we were at the table for really important and integral conversations about what's happening in Lansing and how that's gonna impact the city as well as the county. And so, of course, I'm gonna support this contract because I think this is just something that we need alongside all the work that we do. You know, we commit ourselves to doing this work as council members when you run for office, and I get that, and I know that the pay disparity is great. But there are things and spaces and days and time that you can spend that we cannot. I cannot go to Lansing every day. So when I make it there, I make it there. When I can't, I know that I can give you a call if there's something that I think is important for us to talk about, and you can take my call.
Absolutely.
As well as our staff, because I see the lists that come out to you on our priorities as well, and I've added several of them based on conversation at this table. So yeah, I appreciate the work you've done. I do think increased communication with other council members would be great. I think that makes people feel more comfortable, but also it's important for them to be able to talk with you about what's happening. But yeah, I think this is an important piece that we need for a city very small when our staff, and we are already stretched. We cannot do what you're doing every day at Lansing. If we're trying to do the work yourself.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate your voter support. Now we'll work to earn your vote as well, Councilman.
Further comment or discussion? No.
Just, I think to that point, Mayor, I guess one of the things that it's helpful for us to hear about these things, like not at this time when we have to vote on a contract, but as we go throughout the year. Because to me, like I said, this is my third year. I feel like this is a repeat, and you are always very conciliatory and say you're gonna do your best. And so I guess maybe for us, it's just more of a practice of when there are these interactions, when there are things happening at the state that we should be aware of, that, maybe that be part of just updates our communications too. So that we can see some of that, because I don't see any of that. So all I see are the weekly updates, when I can get through that, through my inbox. Because, the residents, that's my first priority. So, so I think this is the kind of thing that's not, I would like it to not feel invisible until we have to vote on a contract.
I guess to add on to that, though, what I will say is that when things come down the pipe, that have maybe been approved or whatnot, the city manager does send that information out when we get it. Because usually it comes to probably myself, the clerk, and the city manager, or maybe a department head who was involved. And that gets sent out that way, so you may not see it from me per se, but that information does come out if there is something. And I will do better, but I do try to talk about if I have engaged with Mr. Giller in Lansing, I talk about it during my mayor comments, when I've gone, or if there's something to talk about. So I will make sure to keep priority that if there's something that I've done or remember as coming up, I can share that as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Further comments or discussion? Seeing none, Clerk Joe, please call the roll.
Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons. Yeah. Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Councilmember King.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
No.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
So you've gotten our notes. Support and prosper, and hope you have a good rest of your birthday.
Thank you for the birthday gift, I appreciate it.
Yes, 2 hours, 55 minutes left. Have a good night. Next, Councilmember McLean, you have 179.
Mayor, resolution 225-179, resolved by the council of the city of Lanny that ordinance number 1450 entitled an ordinance to amend chapter 46 ethics, article 2, Board of Ethics, section 46-31. Creation, members 46-32, appointing term, officers, rules and procedures be adopted in its entirety on second and final reading.
Support.
Been moved by Councilmember McLean, supported by Councilmember Gibson.
Thank you.
Council, this is the change of the ordinance, the two areas. One, that removes the requirement for political party balancing. And then adds the or two members of council as was approved through the 2020 charter amendment. There are no other changes.
Discussion, questions, Councilmember Fellows?
It's a second reading, so is there, there's no public.
No, there's no public.
Okay. Yes, I'm looking at my notes. I think it was item C. I was wondering about item C, if we might just strike it and or leave the term of the board chair shall be 1 year, just because it seemed maybe superfluous. If we wanna leave item C there, then I would probably amend it to say the mayor or 2 members of council serve as board chair. So just make it in alignment with the change on item A.
This is currently how it is in pretty much all of the ordinances. Typical practice is that the clerk would be the chair until the board or commission is ready to select a member to chair. I'm not seeing a mayor actually appoint a chair. In my years here, this is just in all of the ordinances. And if council would like to remove it, I don't think there's anything that would affect it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll move to strike the first sentence of item C. Just leave the term of board chair shall be 1 year.
There's a motion.
Yes.
I'm trying to pull it up.
Support.
All right, so moved and supported, moved by Councilmember Fellows, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen. Discussion on the motion that letter C under 46-32. Just say the term of board shall be 1, board chair shall be 1. Any discussion? Mayor Pro Tem?
The thinking of that first sentence takes you out of the equation, and then the question of there being a chair for the board. We've had other commissions that have not had chairs and have gotten business done. And the question is whether that's a significant role in this case. And whether it behooves us to then specify that person available opportunity that the commission votes on board on a chair. If we're leaving that structure in there, then we should make it certain that it happens as quickly as possible.
Councilmember Fellows? As I understand it, most of the commissions have their own bylaws, and the bylaws generally say that, yeah, a board chair will be selected by a vote. So I don't know if you like the friendly amendment, just to strike the whole item C, because we might not even need that sentence there. Or if you feel like there should be a added sentence saying that the ethics commission will select a chair.
At its first opportunity,
Right, that's right.
I'd be happy with having that.
I'm okay with that. Can you clarify for our. So letter C would say.
That the board shall elect a chair as soon as possible.
And it's. Like, what did you say at its first
Opportunity.
opportunity? And then I'm striking the term of board chair shall be 1 year. I'm leaving that too. Okay. You like that, yeah. Councilman, please.
So,
Councilman Simmons,
Yeah, I was just having a moment because I was just remembering as an example, the HRC went a couple meetings without that because of whatever, some process of people that were there, that they didn't actually elect a chair until a couple of meetings in, if I'm remembering that correctly. And then they also, I think, I'm looking the wrong way. Then did they also then have co-chairs? Did they wound up doing that? Anyway, I'm just thinking about this because as we're saying, like at their first opportunity, and I was like, well, it actually, yeah, because it took them a couple of times actually before they got to that. If I'm remembering
No,
correctly.
this is true. It did take a minute to decide who was going to be.
So, I mean, it's just, I'm just thinking about like them taking it up, but if they might not actually have the selection. Anyway.
Councilman McLean?
thank you, Mayor, as we're sitting here, I'm thinking of all of the time we've spent at prior council meetings, often late at night, talking about other actions that other councils long ago took to structure the various commissions. And we trying to find some order where none exists, I dare say. Just want clarity. Saying that a chair should be picked as soon as possible, I have no idea what that means. And I dare say other councils in the future won't know what we meant by that either. So I don't have any problem with conceptually what Councilmember Fellows is attempting to do, but I think the outcome for me is removing some level of clarity, even if it's an imperfect clarity or an imperfect mechanism, at least it's clear. And I think there's some value in that, so I have some concerns about changing the original language.
Further discussion on the amendment on the floor? Councilmember Simmons?
So I'm just wondering if, because I feel like the thing that has the lack of clarity is this like at their earliest convenience or whatever. But stating that the board shall elect a chair means that it's their responsibility to do so. And then the term of the board chair shall be 1 year. Those feel pretty clear. So maybe we can strike that at their first opportunity, and then it's clear that the board should elect the chair and what the term the chair should have.
I would accept that.
Okay. So I also want to just put out here, that we're assuming, because we don't currently have a board, but at one point there will be a board. And so when new people are appointed, it won't be from scratch every time. So there will be members already there. So to say they will appoint a chair also means what, right? Like by the first meeting of the new seating of like there's all these things you can think about that would precipitate when you need to pick somebody to be the chair. So again, I don't mind taking out what's in here, because I've never told any board who's their chair should be, but that because this one is defunct right now, it feels different than what it will likely be in the future.
So the intent of this is when the board initially takes its seat, so it's a brand new board.
Right.
That doesn't have a history, so since the Board of Ethics has not been in operation, that would be a time, but typically the clerk would just chair the first meeting until they decide who they'd like to be the chair.
Right, I understand that. I'm saying that this board doesn't, there's no one on it right now, so this is a different situation that will not likely always occur because we're gonna appoint people to the board. We've already done that. So we will have people there, and I don't know if every group will always come in together as a brand new group. Somebody might resign, you may have to appoint somebody to a interim, you know, a midterm appointment. I mean, there's other mechanisms, maybe I'm getting in the weeds of this, but that's not clear to me either, so.
You might be in the weeds a little, but I agree with you. This C is more of a creating, as city manager was saying, it's more of the creating of the board.
Okay.
And how we would start at the very beginning,
Okay.
which is kind of, you know, and then
Right.
subsequently, because that's the way most of them are, right? Like to create it, we do this and this.
Uh-huh.
But once it's created, then this is how it works.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Weeds.
Councilmember Fennell, yeah. But we don't need a mayor to, or any one of us to select a chair, so that's the big, I think what Councilmember Simmons proposed is pretty clear that the board will select the chair. And that's determined when by the board, you know, so the board will select a chair, the term will be 1 year. It's up to those members to decide what they wanna do with it.
Right, and the discussion.
I'm not sure if, Councilmember Wilcoxen agreed with that as a friendly.
He did. Yeah, he did. You can find it. Further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, please call the roll. On the amendment.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen,
Here.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Fellows,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
No.
Motion carries to amend the ordinance.
All right, we have the amended ordinance on the floor. Councilmember Fellows.
Just one tiny amendment to item D, just to change it to mayor or 2 members of council. Just align with the rest of the ordinance. Item D is the first sentence after the comma. Do I need a motion that? Okay, I move to amend item D to say, if any issue before the Board of Ethics involves any member of the Board of Ethics, the mayor, or 2 members of council.
Support. Alright, it's been moved and supported. Discussion on the amendment. Discussion.
I guess I just clarity, the mayor or 2 members or the mayor with,
Or.
okay.
So I'm sorry, then just for clarity, the mayor or 2 members of council, and then we would remove with majority consent of,
No,
that would stay?
just adding or 2 members and everything stays the same.
Thank you.
Discussion, anything? All right, seeing none, please call the roll, on the amendment.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yeah.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
No.
Councilmember King.
Yes.
Amendment carries.
All right, we are on the amended ordinance. Anything further? Seeing none, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yes.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Amended ordinance carries on second and final reading.
Mayor Pro Tem, you have 180.
Resolved by the council of the city of Ypsilanti that ordinance number 1451 entitled an ordinance to amend chapter 7 marijuana, section 7-1 permit requirements be adopted in its entirety upon second and final reading, and I so move.
To move by Mayor Pro Tem.
Support.
Supported.
By King.
Councilman King.
She
This is the
calls.
second reading.
Council, I'd just like to point out one thing, the I did send this earlier, the ordinance that's in the packet has I mean, putting to what it was meant to be, it should be 12 max and decreased to 11 by attrition. It just says 12.
That's not fun.
Thank you. Discussion, questions, comments?
So just for clarity, it's 12 now, but if one falls off, we're at 11.
Yep.
Correct. Thank you.
You already know it's happening. Right. Alright. If there's no further discussion. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Brown,
Yes,
Councilmember Phillips.
step away.
Oh, sorry, this bad. Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Councilmember Simmons, you have 181.
Whereas the city of Ypsilanti has an interest in remediating and developing Water Street. And whereas the city of Ypsilanti is conducting work on Water Street for redevelopment purposes. And the city is the subrecipient of $3 million through the grant for the Economic Development Initiative for Community Project Funding. Congressional Director of Bidding through Congresswoman Dingle's Office for Soft Costs for the Water Street redevelopment area. Now therefore be it resolved that the city council of the city of Ypsilanti approve the city manager signing the Washtenaw County subrecipient agreement pending review by the city attorney. I'd like to move.
Been moved by Councilmember Simmons, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Council, this was an earmark provided by Congresswoman Dingle, I believe in 22. And we're just to the point that the county's receiving money and we're going to be receiving it. Joe is here to ask any questions.
All right. Questions from Council President?
Yeah, just right quick. I just was thinking about what sorts of things are considered soft costs. I did see in the project, our packet, there was like the project description that had a few things. I'm guessing are those the things that are considered soft costs, like engineering?
Yes.
Things like that,
Yes.
as opposed to the hard costs of actually doing the remediation?
Yeah, so this money won't be used for removal, it'll be used for testing, identifying, ensuring we know exactly where it is and on site.
Which we have been doing.
We haven't, but we have been doing it solely to remove the site. This money will be used to actually identify the rest of the site to ensure we didn't forget anything, so we know exactly what we're getting into on every part of the site.
And so then, so this grant, so the end of the grant is 2031. What might folks expect to see happen by then?
2031, we're hoping a lot happens by then. That's just the grant period. We're in the process of doing a Water Street engagement. We're hoping that should go up for our very soon. And so we're hoping that the 2031 is far in the future, which is the time they gave us, and we'll be able to actually see much more progress. Prior to that, if you saw recently, there were trucks out there as of yesterday to start some of the.
What's the nature of the dollars flowing to the city in this case? Is it on a reimbursement basis or is it money up front? Reimbursement. All right, I was hoping you were gonna say that because as we know, this current federal government is not a government of its word. And so it gives out grants and then changes its mind, collectively. So I just encourage us to spend this money as fast as we bloody well can.
I can agree.
So in here, there's provision for either one of those, so. It wasn't delineated which one of those. My understanding is the county has the money, it's already passed through to the county from the state. And,
But the county requires a subrecipient, so we spend money, we get it back. We can do it in draws as well.
we have a expense we expect to incur, we can put in for that ahead of time. Correct. Has there ever been a pass-through from the county which we got all the money up front?
No.
There's never worked any.
Not that I've ever seen. I know most of the pass-throughs to the county are through CDBG funds. Typically we spend that thing.
I'm just curious what they do. They've got it. It's.
Well, I know with the state money, I can tell you that. We actually got half of it up front. We spent it down, and then we get the other half from the state. And so it's probably sitting there.
They're making money off of the money that we're not making.
Correct. But it is their earmarked. They have.
I get that from the state, but I mean, the county is.
We can talk to them about that interest.
Further comments or discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Seeing that, Trustee Joe, please call the roll.
Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yep.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
motion carries unanimous.
Thank you. Councilmember King, you have 165. I know it's out of order.
Resolved at the council of the city of Ypsilanti, where certain trees within the city's purview are in need of maintenance or removal. And where the funding source has been identified to use for these trees. And whereas the city of Ypsilanti has solicited sealed bids for the project, and whereas staff have duly reviewed these bids. Now therefore be resolved that the city of Ypsilanti City Council approves the proposed submitted by Arbor Cut Tree Service in the amount of $36,590. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk are authorized to sign this contract subject to approval by the city attorney. And any change orders be approved by the city manager to facilitate completion of this work. I shall move.
Moved by Councilmember King, supported by Councilmember Fellows. Good evening, council. What questions do you have? All right, first please for Bonnie. Yeah. Okay, sir. Mayor Pro Tem.
This got bounced, because they were concerned over certain trees.
I believe there was one tree in question.
Has that been resolved?
I have spoken to the homeowner. I'm currently in the process of speaking with the arborist to make sure that we have consensus. And if this one gets bumped off the list, I've got 5 more I can add to.
Councilmember Fellows, sorry.
Yeah, motion to bump that tree in question. I just want to share some context for it. Kathleen Butler and Courtney, I don't know Courtney's last name, but this is their tree in front of 57 East Forest. Well, it's the city's tree, but in front of their house. And, you know, I believe it was Kathleen emailed all of us about a month ago when it was, originally on our agenda and, you know, spoke very passionately about, maintaining this tree. And it is the one on the list that looks, you know, tree.
It's the best, it's the healthiest one.
Yeah, and those folks reached out to a certified arborist and horticulturist guy, C. Smith, who came out and did some tests, and it sounds like Director Wessler and this person are in vacation, so seems like, you know, it's pretty cooperative resident who also agreed to pay for all the trimming of this tree. And for that reason, I just like to remove that tree from the list, not reduce the money down, because like you said, you could add more trees to the list, so. With that, for that reason, I'm gonna motion to remove 57 East Forest.
All right, there's the motion. Oh, 57 motion. Support. All right, it's been moved and supported, moved by Councilmember Fellows, supported by Councilmember Simmons. Discussion on the motion.
So it is possible that my discussion, we're in the trading voicemails phase, so it's my
it is possible that the discussion could result in that tree being bumped back up. So there is a crotch in the tree. This side has fallen off and is dead. This side is the side that is alive and over their house and their driveway, or their neighbor's porch, I think, really under their driveway. And this still has a pretty large segment of dead branch. Problem is, once the rot that inevitably starts here reaches here, this branch is going to fall very suddenly. So my question to Mr. Williams is gonna be about, has he actually looked up here, has he tested the extent of the rot? If he has, and he thinks it looks intact, great, we have a few more years. But that branch has been up there for a few years. So I wanna double check with that particular branch.
Sounds good. Thanks for the legwork to meet with the resident and do all of that.
Councilmember Simmons, you have your hand up or no?
Yeah, I just was gonna say, some of my questions originally were around what you're saying is happening, which is, are there things, like, what are the signs? Cause obviously, I mean, I know you were at tree time too. And one of the things is that people don't necessarily know the signs, and that they're just like, so I was gonna ask about that, but then the other thing is, if there were things that can happen in terms of the trimming or something that can help elongate the life of that tree. So it sounds like that's what's being explored right now.
Yes and no. Trees don't heal the same way people do, right?
So they basically develop a callus over where they've lost a branch. Because of our inability to trim around lines and our having been staffed for several years to only jump from emergency to emergency, we haven't gone back and cut off where branches have fallen off to give them something clean to heal around. So as a result, a lot of storm damaged trees start losing significant branches 4 and 5 years down the line. So that's what we think is going on here. There's really nothing that can stop that decay once it starts, unless we can cut under that decay. Like if it's getting to this point, we can maybe cut here and see if the tree can come back. But once it's kind of like falling downstairs. The maples, and particularly the Norway maples that blanket this city, are very good at trying very hard to stay alive and have this last gasp, just before they give up. So we've cut down several trees throughout the community. I believe some ones on Maple were probably the ones that were most recently brought to your attention, where they were rotten straight through to stump. But they still had green leaves on. And so it was an emotional experience for several residents, but these trees were very dangerous. But most of the trees on this list are very dead. So it's very legible for residents and for everybody to drive by and say, wow, maybe I'll take another route from this storm. Yeah, so.
Further discussion on the motion on the floor. Yeah, the amendment. To remove the, at
57.
Yes, sorry. What does that mean if, so we're saying if this amendment passes, but then it's the that it does need to go, what is? That?
Then I wouldn't be doing it as part of this contract.
Okay, this, okay,
They would wait till another contract, another instance.
all right. There's no further discussion, please call the roll on the amendment.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yeah.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
No.
Councilmember King.
Yes.
The amendment passes.
We're on the amended resolution.
70s.
Questions further from me? Councilmember McLean?
Thank you, Mayor. Could you talk a little bit about the selected vendor? Clearly this, from the list you provided, clearly this is the low bidder,
Yes,
and they're really the low bidder.
they're very below.
Are we confident that they have the capacity and the ability to do this safely?
Their
What gives you that
reviews-
capacity?
Sorry, we did check their references. Their references were glowing. Their references were other municipalities. Our insurance seems to check out, and at least as far as up.
they're happy to do performance bonds. We weren't planning to do a performance bond or anything like that with this, because if they don't perform, there's nothing that we have to clean up. It's just the tree stays still. And similar RFPs from other communities don't require any bonding either. So we're pretty confident with that one. So we'll find out. It's a new thing for us to contract with, somebody for this particular line of work.
Yeah. And where are they from? I think there was no address for some reason.
Oh, they're in Northville.
Hmm.
Let's see if I can. There were 3 communities that they worked for, one of which was Belleville. That contact wasn't still there. But the other 2. City of Wayne, Plymouth Township, and Canton Township, and they all glowing things. They say they're not fancy or glamorous, but they get the job done. But and a couple of them also used this outfit for their own personal trees too. So.
Further discussion and comments in council? Seeing none, but would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bograd,
Yes.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Fellows,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, Member Tim, you have one too?
If I may, before that, I'd make a motion to extend till 10:30.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Simmons and Tucson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Think they're necessary, you know it's not.
Appreciate that.
Resolution number 2025-182, resolved by the council of the city of Ypsilanti, whereas the city is in need of construction engineering services in relation to the concrete and retaining wall repair at the fire and police stations, and whereas OHM has submitted a proposal for these services, now therefore be resolved that the city of Ypsilanti City Council approves the proposal submitted by OHM in the not to exceed amount of $38,400. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk are authorized to sign this contract subject to approval by the city attorney. Any change orders may be approved by the city manager to facilitate the completion of the work.
Support.
Supported by Tucson. Hello, Yang. Well,
This project is underway. We'd love to get this under contract.
Thank
There's
you.
already, they're already the contract reports.
Thank you.
It's a timing issue, we're getting it for you guys.
questions for Ronnie? Call roll, please.
Councilmember Fellows,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Councilman King, you have 184.
Where the Ecclesia Fellowship Ministries has served the Ypsilanti community faithfully, providing spiritual guidance, community outreach, and social services that uplift individuals and families, and whereas the ministry has been a steadfast presence in the city, working to advance values of compassion, justice, service, and unity, while fostering a welcoming environment for all residents regardless of background or belief. And whereas the appointment of the new leadership represents not only a continuation of the church's mission, but also an opportunity for renewed vision, growth, and partnership within the greater Ypsilanti area. Whereas the city of Ypsilanti recognizes and congratulates Harold L. Taylor upon his installation as pastor of Ecclesia Fellowship Ministries on September 20th, 2025, whose calling to serve brings new energy, commitment, and leadership to both congregation and the broader community. And whereas this transition is a meaningful milestone for the ministry, its members, and the city at large, and reflects the enduring faith, resilience, and hope that define Ypsilanti's diverse and vibrant spirit.
Now therefore be resolved that the Ypsilanti City Council formally extends its congratulations to Ecclesia Fellowship Ministries and their newly appointed pastor Harold L. Taylor, offering its full support as the ministry continues its vital work in faith outreach and community building. I so moved.
Moved by Councilmember King, supported by Councilmember Simmons. Walk forward, everybody, to this one.
Yes, this was, brought forward due to outreach, requesting they're having an event or they're, celebrating the new pastor, coming up, and they want on, I think it was September 23rd, and they wanted to have this, for that time. So, thank you to our clerk who helped to put together the resolution, in support of this change within, a space in our community and located within Ward 3.
Discussion, comments? Mayor Pro Tem?
Has this been done before? I know we had some resolutions to acknowledge long-standing anniversaries. Never seen.
I will say, when I first started, I was bringing these forward as resolutions. That's the way that I, had experienced them in the past, not so much proclamations. So I think they are slightly interchangeable, but it's still a preference of council.
That was here.
I did, yeah, I brought it forward in the beginning. It's like, I'd have to go back and look, it was more of a proclamation and I made it a resolution. 'Cause that's what I thought we did.
That's what you want, resolution.
I mean, I don't know, I would, what the difference would be, I think it was asked like this, or I wasn't sure that can council put forward proclamation. I thought only the mayor could put forward proclamation.
No, I think I only.
Yeah, I put it.
I mean, you're right about it.
You did before.
Yeah, I put forth a proclamation before as well. Yeah, I've done before.
So it's been for different kinds of support. We supported, like, what was that, saying. I mixed them all.
Lutheran?
But the, one of them for, so it was like an anniversary celebration or something like that. And I think that they just see this as a major change.
I guess I was just saying that the reason why I didn't do anything with this is because technically I'm a member of this church, so I didn't want to know.
I just want to say congratulations. I'm happy to be a part of bringing this forward. And if I can, I will be at the celebration.
And then I'm gonna just recuse myself for good measure. I know it's no money or anything involved, but Councilmember Fellows?
Yeah, this is the first of these type of resolutions where I actually have had to be like, I don't know, how do I feel about approaching this with just on like a principle of not necessarily involving religious institutions and official city business, because this is, I would be happy to support unofficially, but it's also, I think, arguments that are made that these type of statements of support are made once in a while for other orgs that have new leadership, etc. I don't think I've been on council since that's happened, so that's why it's the first time I'm encountering this, so I'm not really sure how to move forward, even though I don't feel very strongly about, either there, and I'm glad to hear that it's a institution that several of my colleagues are, feel good about or are even a member of. That's great. I'd love to visit sometime. I just wonder about officially supporting institutions Just the church and state thing.
I would say I don't recall seeing a resolution like this one. I've seen proclamations like this one. So I don't think that this is something that is just new to you.
Would it have been better as a proclamation? Can we make it a proclamation? I mean, I don't know that it. And then a proclamation, you don't have to vote on it. So you just bring it forward as like a statement. I mean, you just send it to the clerk, right? Yeah.
Goodness name.
I have a proclamation instead.
Yeah, it's the same language, right? Yeah.
But they'll have an actual paper copy.
With a seal on
They
it.
can request one, but they won't have it. So a proclamation, they'll have the actual paper.
Yeah. Seal and the ribbon on it
Yeah.
and all that good fancy stuff.
Signatures.
Could this be converted to proclamation right now?
Absolutely, there's no reason it couldn't be, if you, withdraw the motion. And then you can just simply say that you're submitting it as a proclamation in its place. And then
Sure.
we'll forward and I'll prepare
All right, well, I mean, if that's what people prefer, that's totally fine with me. I just didn't know what that process was, to be honest. Yeah, I said as a resolution, so I put it forward like that. But I'm happy to withdraw the motion and put it forward as a proclamation. I think that they probably do want it in the nice ribbon
Mhm.
folder. Yeah,
I would also add that, I don't know a whole lot, but typically like in church, Slack church culture, they call it proclamation resolution. They call it different.
Yeah, same thing.
So that's what it
Interchangeable.
is, where they get like acknowledgement, they
Yeah.
call it resolution.
That's
But it doesn't necessarily mean it's
yeah, so it's just like, yeah, I'm just
like, we're saying resolve these things.
Interchangeable. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to put it forward like that, and then do we need to sign it?
yes, to make it official, yes, and so.
Or would I have to, like, does the person who make the proclamation have to sign it, or do you all? Remember we did one at that Thursday? Remember? Yeah. That was a while ago, okay. I don't think I signed that one, did I? I don't think.
Okay, so first step, would you like to withdraw the motion?
Sure, I'll withdraw the motion.
And then we will, bring it forward as a proclamation. I will get it put together and, like, do we want? Sometimes the mayor signs it, sometimes everybody signs it. Do we just want it to be from Councilmember Simmons? Everybody?
Well,
Everybody? No. Okay, I will ask, and anyone who would like to sign it, can come in and sign it. How's that going?
That's perfect.
What their event was, when did you say?
It will be.
The 20th, so we would want to get it done sometime next week.
Mhm.
Or not. Okay.
I'll be here tomorrow.
So that's
Yes, and if I can just, apologize, we'll try to get, it straightened out, so we know whether we're doing a proclamation or a resolution.
It's not
Thanks.
it's okay. If I would support it as a proclamation or a resolution.
All right, so we got that figured out. We are on letter I, discussion on the report on code enforcement and making recommendations to council about ordinance consideration.
Indeed.
Yes, so, I wanted to bring this forward, on a couple of things, but I think that the main thing is that, as things happen, so, people reach out to us about different issues around code enforcement. And, so there's a couple of different ones. And then it's like, okay, well, do we need to make a change or something? It's kind of hard to do when I don't necessarily know, like, well, how big is this issue? How often is it happening? And so one thing that, so that's one. And then the other thing is that, in a couple of spaces when things come forward, it's around like, well, what is the relationship that between staff, council, in terms of making recommendations? So obviously we get a lot of things from staff to consider. And it makes me wonder about when there are different kind of code enforcement issues that are out of line. Or not in alignment with values, practices that we in council have put forward in different ways. How do we rectify that if we don't necessarily know? And so, one, I would like just a report on like, yeah, what have been the what are things that are coming forward so we can get a sense of trends and what have been the outcomes. So, right now, I mean, I'm personally in the midst of, well, what I would just call a time waster, to be honest, but, because it's something that's actually outside of what the code said. So then I wonder, well, how many people are going through the same issue? So that we then can be informed about it when we wanna bring things forward. So I would love to have a report on, based on code enforcement, and I don't know how often we need to do that, but in terms of what things are coming forward and the outcomes, if a lot of people are being brought before the Administrative Hearings Bureau, but then those cases are always dismissed, well, that's a lot of time and resource. That's a lot of time and resource. And in this situation, we're in a situation where not only do we go through that, I have to go back to Hearings Bureau for a second time, which is actually a third time on this issue. And our director has to come out, and then staff has to work on something. I'm like, this is a lot over some flowers, y'all. So I would love us to just have a different way of addressing and or when there are things that do come up, when there's people reaching out that that we just have that as part of how we do business, that we might say, okay, you might be right. This might be an issue, but this is what the code is at this time. This might be a consideration for council to take up. And so we will bring it forward for council to consider. Obviously there's lots of things that wouldn't fall into that, but to me, I think that obviously health and safety should be our #1 priority. And there are some things that are more about control or ordinances that allow our neighbors to try to exert control on other neighbors. And so, so I just want to have more information about what is coming forward, and then if there are recommendations from staff of things that we need to consider, that we're able to do that as a body.
Thank you for that. So let's lay this foundation for the discussion. Any comments for the discussion? Robert?
Sure. I wasn't sure from the way this was worded, but it was, so in terms of having a report for code enforcement, I mean, we did the same, a couple of years ago, there was lots of, people started being cited for garbage cans, cited for RVs, things like that. And I think to your point, it would have been, handy to have that, to see where in the city it was, it's a question of where this was around the city, strictly in Ward 2, various other places. So, what would it take to have that monthly code enforcement? Just give it to council as email,
Just of any enforcements, any tickets written, letter of violations.
And the outcomes once it comes to AHB.
And I believe that he did before.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Hi. So I know we can run a report about any action that happens. That's easy. Not something that is almost, for lack of a better word, applicable. When you want to talk about carrying things forward, that gets to be a little bit harder because we would just take the next month what happened. And the way our enforcement cases work is that things get updated in that, and it kind of happens sequentially. And so some things take multiple hearings, some things get dismissed before they go to hearing. And just because they got dismissed before they go to hearing, that's usually because it was brought into compliance or something was done incorrectly.
So there's lots of ways, and so getting down to the nitty gritty detail of all those things would be a little bit hard, but getting an overall view of what's happening. What ward, I would wanna do a few samples, I guess, like, give you guys 1 month, see what you think. And then do it again, just because I don't want to give you information you don't want, I don't want it to turn into an email that you're just gonna disregard, because I do think it's important. For you all to know what's going on, I just don't know how we're gonna do the proper tracking, because. Certain things get pushed off due to formal hearings, some things get elevated to the district court, and so there's lots of things, and then it kind of. Stops in the system when it gets handed over to the attorney's office, so. I would want to, if it would be all right, can we try a few things and then improve it over time? Because I do think it's important to know what codes are being cited, and if we're doing something that isn't correct, there's very few times that I'm aware of that we're actually things are thrown out of court. Certain things are agreed to in court to make sure things progress. But I can get the ones we've definitely, if we are writing something that is getting thrown out of the HB frequently, that's something we need to take a look at. That's something I would take a look at it, and that hasn't been a problem, and I work directly with our city prosecutor, or our AHB prosecutor, directly for that, so. Like I said, I wanna make sure I'm getting you the right info, so if you don't mind a little trial period, I'll be giving you some data, and then. Try to.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that, that makes sense, right, because it's not even like, once it happens that the hearings are immediate too. So I'm not sure like how to make sure we capture that, whether it's something like a roundup. On a quarterly basis, I mean, or even a yearly, I mean, cause we move slow. But some kind of roundup of like, okay, this type, we had this many things and this is, you know, what some of that look like.
Like, I would, what I think in my head, if this is all right, give you guys last year. Give everyone last year, and then I think a month, it might be too short, but I think quarterly would be better. Just because like you can actually see the cases as they kind of progress. But I don't mind trying monthly to see if it's useful, and that's where, but I do think giving you a solid year of data.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. The other thing that I found out too is so, and this is only just because I don't say from this case that I'm in the midst of, but so I don't know what other people's experiences are, or if this happened to other people. But the notes from my previous hearing, the same thing, the enforcement officer said he hadn't seen it. And so that makes me question too, like, well, what are the records when they are doing something? What is the process? Is he checking for past issues of this type or not? Or does he have access to that? So I don't know what that process is, but I think it would make sense that that would be a part of it. So that people aren't, because you know, my thing was dismissed with prejudice, but here I am back in the situation. So.
And I can just say, for that exact purpose, our system has gotten better. We've actually been able to track more internally, and there was a lot of things done on paper before. And we're trying to get away from paper for one, for environmental reasons, but two, also to have everything in one massive database so we can check. Because in our system, it doesn't say anything about dismissal prejudice. So, and then of course, we don't always have documents that go back that far based on record retention and so on. The SNA is a much better program, and we've been able to do a whole lot more the last year. So once again, I've said it a few times, thank you for giving us the opportunity to have a system that works. Even though there's many flaws, there's many better tracking abilities.
And so you were saying that you can do one for last year, and then we'll do a trial.
Whether it's quarterly.
Yeah.
Well, so I think it's gonna before your next meeting, I'm gonna have a yearly, a monthly, and then a quarterly. And then we're gonna see what actually works best, if that's all right.
Listen, what we're gonna be getting is gonna be better than nothing. So let's start there. That sounds good to me.
Does that include the PhD proceedings for that month too?
So it'll be any enforcement. I mean, are you just concerned about AHB or are you?
No,
concerned about-
I want the record of the enforcement, but if we're talking about getting things that are readily accessible, then the judgment at the time of the report. Some of those things will take a long time to get through there,
Yes.
but there will be things that are resolved. Can't happen.
So like I said, the system has. some
Harder to,
limitations.
it's harder to track.
No, but it's when a judgment is entered, then the actual, there's gonna be a spreadsheet that gets kind of purged out. And it'll say judgment entered, and so that's the actual status of it, so there's gonna be a letter written, a citation, just a lot of things, but one of them is AHB schedule, then it's AHB judgment, AHB dismissed, and so then you have to kind of get into that a little
Give
bit.
us a simple.
That's why I'm gonna do it in 3 different ways, and then also. Please, I want all of the possible feedback, so I can actually better make this. And I also wanna make it easy for staff to pull. By staff, I mean me.
There's a click of a button, how hard?
You would hope it's just a click of a button, but one of the things that council's always wanted, in the past is separate up on board. And you would think that'd be easy to do, except for it's not. So we have to actually physically go through addresses by ward, and so that's where it gets hard, and I've done it, and I've not complained about doing it. But I learned
care as much about it. I will say, like, I mean, like, I understand why, but I don't know that I care as much about that if it feels like it's an extra strain, because we can look at the addresses, we can probably know.
Just we get the issue of there's North Summit has half in
Yeah.
Ward 2, half in
Yeah.
Ward 1. And it just, that's where it gets challenging. I know most roads and what ward they're in, but sometimes you have, to
Mhm.
hey, what side is the Ward 1 side? Is it Ward 2?
Yeah, for sure, for
Is-
sure.
The Excel file. We can sort however.
Yes,
Right.
but there's only limited things in that Excel file for that
Mhm.
enforcement, so.
If I wanna sort for this code,
It'll be really useful in a lot of ways, it's just there's always the 1 or 2 things that you want it to do there. So. Give me, I think we have 3 weeks till our next meeting. I will work on part 2. I'm working on a very large project with Arbor Wood, and so it might be for first meeting in October, if that's all right.
I suppose we can allow it.
I feel like that's fair, Joe.
I don't know if it's going, but I
set that one aside, you know.
okay, I will get on this, ASAP, actually, it'll be a nice retreat.
Yeah.
So. I look forward to sharing that.
Everybody good?
Mhm.
That's good. All right, thank you. All right, liaison reports. Police emergency commission.
Yes, that is indeed I. So first and foremost, the next YPAC meeting will be here in council chambers on September 25th at 7 p.m. At our last meeting, we had an item on the agenda. Well, they had an item on the agenda about the boards and commissions ordinance review, and in regard to term limits and removing them, the Commissioner Alexander Monroe brought up the fact of not wanting to remove term limits, but expanding them past what they are currently. I think it's like what, two terms? Yeah, 2 terms. So expanding it past that. And also a conversation surrounding YPAC members and YPAC as a commission being at the table at any time that things are talked about with like police and things going forward on our body. So yeah. That's it.
Thank you. HRC?
I missed the last HRC meeting, but it sounds like we have 2 resolutions coming forward. You know, we'll wait for those, but I have not, had an opportunity yet to get the details on what happened at the last meeting, so I'm glad, we got an update here tonight.
All right, thank you. Parks and Arts?
Next meeting is Monday, September 22nd.
Sustainability.
The Sustainability Commission meeting was actually canceled last minute because of double booking of this space yesterday. Because there was the Water Street, Ward 1 focus group. So, but we didn't realize that until right before the meeting. So
HDC.
That's tonight.
Oh, you were here, so.
They were not.
Yeah.
I was not able to make the planning commission. I did get an update from Josh, and I don't have the minutes have not been published, so I can't. It is, but the dark sky ordinance will be working its way to us in the next couple of weeks. Be done. And there was some discussion about the EMP amendments, and there are a number of sites, plans that went through. It apparently was very long meeting. Which is unusual. Straightforward.
ZBA. Who is that?
Me?
Oh, okay. I always think it's you, I don't know. Some card,
And not know if you.
Watts.
the meeting was canceled.
Irving County meeting is forthcoming. EDA, third Thursday this month, so is that the 18th, 19th, 18th? The 18th, that will be coming up. We had, no meeting in August. Rutherford Pool?
Rutherford Pool Board met after closing. They're evaluating the basically all the lessons went well. Lots of folks showed up. There were some issues with adult lessons that they will rectify in the next year. They're looking at difference. There's some repairs that need to be done on closing. That will take some of the cash to do. But overall, it was a good year. Lots of people attended, and even during some of the cold weather, there's still folks there. But with the high heat for so long, they were full.
Council proposed business. Councilman Toots.
Yes, so first and foremost, I would like to thank everybody who attended and everybody who organized this year's Summerfest / Joe Doolin Day. It was great to come out there and see everybody out there. For the most part of the event, I was under the resource table with women and men working for change, so I got to see all the resources and everybody who's coming and going to those tents. So it was great to see y'all out there. Also, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everybody who played a part in organizing and helping us with the Southside softball game. It was a great game on a great Sunday, though the game ended in a tie.
Yeah.
We won, the purple team won, in reality. But no, I want to say thank you to everybody who came out. As president of the Women and Men Working for Change organization, I'd like to formally invite everybody on council and everybody in attendance physically and virtually to the 5K walk / run on October 4th at 8 a.m. in Frog Island Park. We'll have a keynote speaker, 34th District Court Judge, Honorable Teresa Patton will be speaking with us. It's $35 per person to participate. I hope to see each and every single one of you out there. I would also like to bring attention to the Historic Southside Annual Block Party this Saturday, the 13th at 12 p.m. on the 200 block of South Washington. I'll be there. And finally, I would like to bring awareness to Ward 1 residents about Walk the Ward on First Ave. I'm working out, though, the date this month that it's going to happen. I have to organize with city staff and Councilmember King to figure out what day works best for us. But when that comes forth, you all will see it and hear it. So that's about it.
Thank you. Councilman King.
I too just wanna talk about the picnic. I believe it's on Mini Hills Boulevard at 12 to 5. I was able to attend Swoop's Pantry 10th anniversary this past week. That it was nice to learn how they have supported and helped the community. I think they said since they began, they have gave out 1 million pounds of food. So that was exciting to learn about. I want to bring attention to the speed bumps in Ainsworth. I know we met, I always talk about these speed bumps because they are always, every day. At this point, I feel like somebody come teach me how to reconnect them. Because every day it's a part missing in Ainsworth. So again, I would just ask if someone could please come by more frequently to check, because sometimes I just forget to call, because as I'm driving, I don't want to have that phone call while I'm driving. So if we can check that more often. I also want to just put on record that I received quite a few phone calls from parents of students that go to Perry School. They have mentioned that it has been unsafe due to the current construction. I did reach out to Chief Anderson and Andrew, and I know some changes are going to be made, but I just want to make sure the students and parents are kept safe in that area due to the extended amount of traffic that's in that area. I know I also spoke about residents that wanted to come and speak today. I don't know if they are still on the list or if they just decided not to come today, about an encampment that is on or near Bell Street. I was wondering if we get any updates about that, because from my understanding, she reached out to other people on council, the mayor, and the city manager. We have talked in the past about a safe tenting area. I think we need to revisit that conversation. I want to say again, thank you to everyone that came out to support the beer cooler. I am actually happy that the individuals were charged, again, to set a standard that this behavior is not allowed in our community. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, hey, yeah, I'll just want to start off by saying I was reminded, that this was been a wonderful time, this season at the Rutherford Pool. I probably went more than I have in the last 20 years. Went closing day of the pool, and it was sunny and warm, and yeah, I just very much appreciate this asset in our community. Look forward to opening day, 9 months from now, or whatever it is. I have been hearing a lot from residents on the corner of Oak Street and Charles Street, who are kind of organizing around a church on that corner that is producing a lot of low base frequency noise. 4 times a week. And yeah, I know that the code ordinance makes it so noise violations have to go through the YPD, and the YPD has been responding, but residents are feeling very frustrated, like they are running against the wall with the situation, and are starting to maybe think about petitioning the city. So that is something I hope we can maybe do some mediation between the neighbors and with the church. And I don't know much about the situation with the Little Recovery House, just that I have some voice messages in my inbox that I need to visit, and so I just want to follow up with staff to learn more about that issue. I was able to attend the Scoops 10-year anniversary celebration, and yeah, it was very well attended, very well organized, but more than that, the Swoops pantry is really offers much more than simply a pantry. It has like a furniture thrift area, it has like a third space hangout spot. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful asset for both students and staff. So I recommend checking it out. And I also want to shout out Totally Awesome Fest, which is happening at the end of the month from Saturday, September 25th to the 28th, in various locations in town. There's been renewed interest in the Smeat Frog. I've seen the city post about Smeat Frog.
And there will be a public play at Toledo Fest on Friday, September 26th, about the Sneak Frog Conspiracy, which was originally written in 2004. Last statement is that I just want to express solidarity with the residents of Chicago and Washington DC, which are being threatened with the military occupation and takeover, and it's very terrifying to see this played out. And you know, if you have loved ones and friends in these areas, please reach out to them. I do want to do one motion. So when the ICSI Big presentation happened, there was discussion about having a subcommittee of council to do tenants' rights legislation. We had one meeting with City Attorney Barker and ICSI Big, and there was talk of, reconvening at some point. And so I talked to the city manager about next steps for having a subcommittee, and he indicated to have staffing. I would just need to be a motion of council. So I am moving to create a subcommittee for tenant rights. And if anyone is interested in supporting that.
It's been moved by Councilmember Fellows, supported by Councilmember.
And I just want to add that there is interest in this from Legal Services in South Central Michigan. Paralegal has said see an interest in this kind of subcommittee for reforms. And then as well as the Human Relations Commission, and anyone here is also invited to that.
Discussion on the motion?
This is
Oh,
subcommittee.
you, go ahead, hold on. I thought this was a one with the council.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Okay.
it softly exists, it doesn't have a staff assigned role. Because it wasn't, I failed to move for that one. Yeah, we didn't create it officially, we just discussed it.
Any discussion on the creation of this already? Councilmember McQueen?
Thank you, Mayor. I just asked, city manager if he has thoughts on this.
So I would create this as an ad hoc committee after. Unless council wants it to be a sustained subcommittee, but an ad hoc committee, I would list the composition of the committee. So staff can begin reaching out to those other bodies that council would like to be a part. So if council would do that, how many council members you would want? Do you want? And then is it just public? Do you want certain commission members to be on it? It'd be how would you like that to look?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I don't know if there's a timing issue for this, but it sounds like something that could be more thoughtful and everything kind of ironed out as a proposal. We brought it forward in the next council meeting. I'd be inclined to support it.
Further discussion?
The motion is to set that. In
Set it in motion.
So that-
So that there's.
At the
a
next
staff.
meeting, we can have more details about. Okay.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So, there's a motion on the floor to begin the creation and then take you through the configuration of this ad hoc committee. And
So then who's, sorry,
just.
so then who's coming forward with this, what the committee will look like? Is it supposed to, will it be staff or will it be?
I can work with council member fellows.
I just wanna make sure.
All right, if there's no further discussion on this, please go this home rule.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Councilmember King.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yep.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Fellows.
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you. It's 10:20.
I'm over being for 11.
Is there support? Support. All in favor of extending to 11?
Aye.
Say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
I think you can wait now. Council member Simmons, that's what I was, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a few things. One, I've had some folks reaching out, around us, pursuing a Leave the Leaves resolution. I think of it as kind of similar to Lomo May. And one of the people actually even brought a little gift, trying to work on creating these or doing little kits for these little bee cups as well. And this is something that she's been talking with me and the food co-op about maybe being a distribution space. And so I'm hoping to work with them to bring something and or with the Sustainability Commission. There's interest there, although I'm not sure about the timing for when the commission will meet and when we want to put this forward, since the time to leave the leaves is coming forth soon. So we'll see what works out best, but it will be something working with at least a commissioner and a couple of residents. I also attended the Swoops 10-year anniversary. Their first record day was for attendees was in 2018, but now they had a new one in August 25th, where they had 165 students shopping in one day. And they have had 63,000 people over 10 years come through. And they're making some changes for the next 10 years around adding prepared food options, reducing food waste from dining, having providing access to a kitchen space, as well as composting. You know, y'all, I love it. But I did want to just note that I also saw the EMU in the EMU paper that the EMU changed its dining options, and so it's closed down some locations, and that students are not happy and are saying that the changes are making food more inaccessible. So I don't know if we have friends who could talk to the EMU about why are they doing such things, which would only make, I think, the work that Swoops does like even more important. But the other thing is I did do there was a presentation that the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation did around housing and some research. And so I had a chance actually to connect more with Shannon Polk about that. And we kind of talked about some of those findings and what some of those things mean for IPSI and the complexity of it. I also had a chance to connect with the Washtenaw Housing Alliance because they have a new program that they're just kicking off around shared housing program, where a home provider can open up space for home seekers so that they can start to fill in some of the excess rooms that people might have. And so it sounds like a great program and something that might be helpful for all of us to know about. So I was talking to them about actually coming and doing a presentation for council on that. So if there's interest, then I can work with them to get a date for that. I'm also interested, just in terms of thinking about things that are happening all over and things that we're seeing within our own community here in terms of ICE agents in particular, that there are some policy options, and I'm seeing colleagues in other parts of the country pursue. And so I'm kind of looking into what some folks are doing around making folks that are agents of law enforcement to be unmasked and easy to identify for all. And so, I hope to have something for that within the next meeting or two to bring forward for us to review. As we know that they have been very active here in Ypsi. Also, there have been folks reaching out about wanting a resolution for that we would use the freight house for the daytime warming center. If they are not able to find another space, and I know I reached out to city manager about this. So anyway, they are still interested in having that, reassurance, from the city, so that it's not kind of coming at the last minute. I am working, back by popular demand, tree time, working with Sibby on finding a date for a fall tree time, and we're looking at going to Riverside, so we'll be in Riverside Park, probably sometime in October, and, so look out for information on that. I did ask, so we did get an email about a need to fill, the LDFA commission. And so I asked if there were current applications that we already had for that. And our city clerk confirmed that we do have one, which is Elise. And so that's something, so if anybody else would support Elise in that, then we can have that forward on our next agenda. And then the last thing, let me just make sure it is not. Yeah, the last thing I wanted to just mention is that there's this the UN has a universal periodic review, which is something that they do around for all countries to look at basically measuring for like human rights and things of that sort. And for the first time, unsurprisingly, our country has withdrawn, so we're supposed to be reviewed. The federal government has said, "Nah, we don't need you looking at us because we already know what we're doing." But just bring it here because I did sign on with other local electeds to request that they not skip over our country, but instead look to state and local work that's happening in these areas. And so I just wanted to bring that to folks' attention, and I'm just trying to make a push for people to be talking about this and to say that we do stand on rights for all humans, and that we do believe that we need to be looked at. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McLean.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I think the city manager, a couple weeks ago, sent to, I believe, all of us, financial figures for the year ending January 30th, 2025. And it is my hope that we can schedule some kind of a presentation on those. I realize they're unaudited at this point, and we'll certainly have a presentation when they are audited. But I think it would be appropriate to have something in it. And look to this body to decide, is it to the full commission or the full council, or is it to the finance committee? Those seem to be the two logical potential options, but I'd like to see where we've landed. If there are thoughts on that, or if we can resolve that, but my recommendation would be have the finance committee scheduled sometime soon, but if others feel strongly this will go forward. Full commission or full council, I think that would be fine as well. Just keep us here later at night. Secondly, Fall River Day, Frog Island, September 21st, 12 to 3.
River Day.
3rd, Elm Street sewer projects. I'm hoping to get a little bit more information. I know you said some work has been done or is being done.
All of the underground work
On the pipes has been done, I think there might be a little bit more on the structures.
And so, once that's finished, then the resurfacing would take place,
It'll be patching, yeah.
right? So is it reasonable? I have an increasing number of people on Elm Street and beyond who ask me those questions. So is it reasonable to say within a month, or is it too early to say?
Asphalt plants close November 15th, so it'll be tight to have the resurface in this year.
So there's a chance those won't be resurfaced this year.
There's a chance.
I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. I will be very sorry to report that. And finally, say a few words about something that I hope to have on the agenda next time. I was hoping to have it on the agenda this time. But we have talked on and off about the rainy day fund, budget stabilization fund that we've created, that we put some money into, which I checked with the finance director, but I believe it's currently sits at $3.4 million. More or less, there's some interest accruing on it. And the one piece that I've talked about us not having yet addressed is what are the circumstances under which it would be appropriate for us to take money out of that fund. And so an ordinance that I have prepared would contemplate three criteria. One is when property taxes fall by a certain percentage. Secondly, when revenues fall below expenditures by a certain percentage. And third, when we deem it, Michigan has fallen into recession, and there's a little bit more detail. I won't bring the ordinance forward. I can talk about that in more detail. But it's those three criteria, any of which, if those happen, we would be able, as a body, to take money out. We would not have to, but we could choose to, with affirmative vote of a majority of the members of council. I also have a fail-safe, another provision where you can't anticipate everything that might happen. Few people anticipated, for example, the pandemic, but certain circumstances happen, and we may all agree that, hey, we're in a serious fiscal emergency, but it hasn't been defined by these three criteria here. So my ordinance will contemplate that we could move money out if those circumstances, if 6 out of 7 of us agree that we are in a state of emergency. So in many ways, this is a way to give us some specific guidance when we might use those rainy day funds. It's meant to be fairly limiting because it's meant to protect those funds from being used in a way counter to what the purpose, and the purpose is to offset cyclical downturns in the economy and in our finances. So I want to let you all know about that. You'll see that soon. I hope to share that with you for the next couple of days. It's finished. It's a draft. Certainly open comments about it. I think that is it.
I'm just gonna say now that I do object to that level of restriction, so hopefully you can have room in your draft for changes.
Want to say to Tracy that I was for bringing that ordinance. Or discussion. Want to remind people that the Ward 2 Water Street meeting is here tomorrow night. It's unfortunate that it's also at the same time as an annual Huron River Watershed Council fundraising event, which here, all that, I'm gonna be here thinking about water.
Water's better for you.
What's that?
Water's better for you.
No, there were 5 things going on, that's why I haven't be here. A home share, we're bringing that up. I talked to some folks on the senior center board, and this has been a topic of conversation for quite a while. And there were some questions, and unfortunately Joe's gone, so I will follow up with him in terms of how that fits into short-term rentals. So as we go through those conversations and do that, and what that looks like in terms of rental inspections for those homes. If there's a lease line, how does it work with the building inspections and things like that? So I'll follow up Joan on that. Recent office hours, back to the Water Street, constituents who frequents our Sunday office hours, was quite dismayed to find out that we were having yet more. There's a couple that we're having more meetings about Water Street. Why don't we just get it done? Be done with it. And I said, well, there was this meeting on it. I want you to just do it. I agree with everything that's been proposed so far. So it's like, there it is. Person was really not at all happy to find out that we were having more meetings after the Carlisle work. So, just to say that there are people out there that are tired of this being in their minds, keep going, bro. Keep the can down. So anyway, that's all.
Thank you. Okay. Attended lots of things over the past few weeks, so many. I would encourage, folks who do utilize social media, to follow not only the city's page, but also, my page to know, the things that I'm going to and updates that are being shared about things you can apply. Yeah, great event, Summerfest, softball game, the potluck this weekend in Ward 1, I'll be attending. I will bring forth, I've heard a lot about the dining issues over at Ian Movement, so in this process of sitting on the presidential search committee, that will come with a conversation, that's important, we can talk about. Again, I want to thank folks who came out to share the numerous things that we heard about in public comment today, and definitely want to thank, everyone who was been in support of what's happened over at the beer cooler, around the blockade in Cuba, of course. Again, I am also the child of immigrants, so this hits on me a different kind of way. And also, I think I'd already stated, but asking that the city manager follow up on the Huron Vista. Okay, perfect, so that you know what's happening there. Again, it's great when people come and share with us what's happening, because sometimes we don't know, or we haven't heard some of these things. And I have many emails, and correspondence that I've been in, including the issue with the church and the noise, speed bumps, the encampment. I mean, there's a lot that's been happening over the past several weeks, although we have not been in chambers, we have all been doing a lot and working, in community. And, yeah, I'll start there. City manager?
Just a few things. DLZ has nearly completed the facility assessment. We should have the final report in a couple of days, which we will provide to council. A space assessment is also underway to kind of understand what we need now and what we would need in the future to be successful. In terms of the encampment over at Bell and Kramer, I've been in contact with the PATH team. They've gone out there several times, and those individuals are not wanting to move. We're putting up more signage. So we're doing everything we can to help them find another location without resorting to any police involvement. For the church, the police department has sent detectives there to discuss with the pastor about keeping the noise to a lower level, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Anything?
I want to remind council that your retreat is Friday. And since your facilitator is not here, I'd like to remind you for her that she has given you homework to make this successful. Please do your homework.
I'm gonna do that.
And just to, we got emails, there was a survey, we said a survey done, and then there were a few other questions. Yes, to compare, to contemplate. And then just to let everyone know that the Washington County election board has decided not to have early voting for the November election. So there will be no early voting in November, and we will advertise that and put it out, do some social media posts everywhere we can. But I fully expect with just one question on the ballot, it won't be too much of an issue.
Gotcha.
And that's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Tucson, you already talked about the communication, and so now we are at, the continuation of public comment. All right, so I left off Timothy Perrin.
It's not here.
TC. I know, thanks for hanging out. Good evening.
Good evening,
Or good
everyone.
night.
Bear with me, I have a visible disability. Quite a few things, hopefully I get it done. Late last year, walking down Cross Street from Sweetwater. In the winter, where the sidewalk is not shoveled, from different businesses, very big concern, so I did walk into the street. Going east. Not all the way in the street, but just in the street, so that way I cannot slip and fall. An oncoming police officer showed up. Detained me for about 40 minutes. Had my hands up. And he's saying that I'm not complying. That I need to stand where I'm at. I'm telling him that I cannot hear, that he's in the back of me. Can I please turn around so I can fully hear him and address him? That's why I was detained for close to 40 to 45 minutes, because he took it upon himself to say that I'm being disobedient, disoriented, and things of that nature. I cannot put a sign on my back to saying I'm disabled when I'm walking freely in a street trying to protect myself from slipping and falling. All I ask is that if the city of Ypsi and the police department come up with a plan to help with people with disabilities of communicating better, because I could be the next person that could be shot, and I don't want that to happen. I cannot speak for anybody else that has a disability, but for myself, having a disability and you've had the police come up on you from behind, when you're coming up a one-way street in the opposite direction, you don't expect to have a police officer to come from behind you on Cross Street. Normally, cars come this way on Cross Street, I'm going this way across street, so it's very concerning. So all I ask is that.
1 minute.
Yeah, thank you. I also want to discuss that, political intimidation is very important. I am a sustainability commissioner for the city of Ypsilanti. My views are to the left, or maybe to the right, or maybe sometimes in the middle. I don't approve and I don't like the Peninsula Dam to be removed. I did get an email from Steve Wilcoxon about a meeting on the last term about my views on the Peninsula Dam. It's hard to look at him and feel comfortable talking with him because he has more experience than I do when it comes down to political involvement. I did talk to Lois Richardson about this issue, that it was a very big concern.
Your time's up.
Thank you.
Go back, is Corin, you're here?
Corin Williams, Ypsi Township. I like the stand-up desk.
You can look it up.
Oh, yeah. All right, you should restart my phone. So, as far as the incident, on Washington Street at the beer cooler, that video was really hard to watch. And there's been a lot of things that are hard to watch happening in the city. And rather than stand up here and kind of remind you guys of decisions that were made in the past that didn't necessarily uplift community members or stand behind community members that are now being like beaten publicly on the news. I think there is an opportunity here to make some decisions to change the way that this city is in relationship with its vulnerable populations. And I think, you know, Councilmember McLean had the foresight to bring up the rainy day fund. And I really don't understand why the city has not had a conversation with service providers about how you guys can support uplifting the vulnerable populations in Ypsilanti so that we can repair that relationship with the city and improve the dynamic with business owners and the property owners. So this is a solution-based comment. If you guys have $3.4 million for a rainy day and you're discussing an ordinance on what criteria meets a rainy day, I think it's raining. There's a ton of anecdotal data I could give you to prove to you that it's raining. I've given you a ton of quantitative data to prove to you that it's raining. I'm gonna be at the opioid task force meeting in Lansing tomorrow, where there's more of that being discussed coming from the state's EPI team. And I'd be more than happy to kind of see or to discuss with you guys where like Washington County falls when it comes to overdose and folks with disability relative to the rest of the state, and Black and brown folks relative to the rest of the state. So I think you do have a lot of organizations in Ypsi that are ready to step up and do the work, that have been already doing the work without your support, that have gone out to get funding from other entities because the city has chosen not to fund these efforts. But I think, you know, now is probably the time to show the people of the city that like you really care. And so I hope that a conversation with service providers in Ypsi comes out of this and we can get some funds moving in the right direction. So thank you guys. And the parking for Little House. So again, people utilize that for AA meetings. They really do. We're not allowed to do alcohol use treatment here, I know, but you should let them park or use Bonnie's money to build them a parking lot.
Thanks, Corin. Yeah.
Jeremy, Ypsi Township. Yeah, I just don't feel so bad about the dispensaries that you have. There's a city just in Michigan over the, you know, Michigan-Indiana border that has like 3 to 4 dozen dispensaries. So you don't feel bad. They're getting nicknamed Puff Town or something like that or something. So don't feel bad.
Puff Town.
I'm sorry.
They're getting nicknamed because they have so many. So. The other thing, you guys are going to be giving money to lower income families and stuff like that. There's some kind of program I heard or something. Yeah, through Clint come down and said something like that. My concern with that money is those people receiving money to get help from DHS and they have to fill out forms. Now those forms, they ask you if they're receiving any other income from any other sources. They're legally liable if they lie on that form. They can lose everything for fraud if they don't claim it on that DHS form for food stamps, Medicaid, stuff like that, because they ask for any source of income. Everything down to scrap metaling. Okay, so they cover all bases, and if you guys give them money and they don't claim it, you guys can come back on you. So if you guys give these people money, you have to tell them they have to claim it on their DHS forms and all that, because this, that, you know, in effect, I do that. So other thing, the LEAP program is a great program. My concern with that one is getting people to go to certain situations that they're not qualified for. I was involved, or I was a victim of domestic violence a long time ago. If the 2 deputies weren't there, she came at me with 2 deputies standing in the room. One had it clotheslined her, and I seen her do a 360 in the air and hit the ground. I don't know what will happen. So
you guys gotta think about the LEAP program. And last thing. Have you guys thought about using Bitcoin as a base for some kind of payment system, stuff like that? Because others, municipalities have. Because I don't know if you guys heard of what called the fourth turning is, cycles in history. Well, what reason I'm telling you is this, 3 years ago, I told my family members to invest in Bitcoin when it was like 16, 70,000. Now it's 111. I've heard estimates that it's gonna go up to $1 million in the next 5 years. It's gonna be worth $10 million in the next 10, 12 years.
Thank you.
So consider that.
Thank you. Okay, see, the hands that were online.
There are new hands, but not the old hands, so no.
You only go off of the list for a second? Really? I will log myself onto Zoom, step outside if that's what I need to do.
Oh, come. You stayed all this time, though.
Sorry.
I don't know. It's no idea.
I appreciate you letting me have time for comment, KJ Pedri, 120 North Huron. I do think another decision made in regard to this evening's comment was very undemocratic, and that's the lack of overflow. There were elders standing who could not hear, sitting on walkers out in the lobby space. I previously thought you didn't even want us milling about there. I understand there were some security concerns around the utilization of the overflow space. There were 3 cops sitting in this room. There was 1 guarding the bathroom / your exit door over there. I'm pretty sure we could have found a way to accommodate overflow space so that people could hear what was happening in this room. Nicole, Mayor Brown, I heard you calling out your inability to hear in this room. Everyone who was out there could not hear. We were pulling up Zoom on our phones to read closed captions. That was not accessible. That was not democratic. Corin talked about the rainy day fund. I'm gonna talk about the $1.2 million for 10 cops that we have not filled. Have we hired for any of those positions? Because I follow the city's social media and I haven't seen that. I did see WCC say we're graduating a rookie that's IPSI bound. So I guess that's 1. Our budget month started in June, so we've had several months where those positions were not filled, where there's money budgeted that is not going to be spent on those positions. I think that money should immediately go to be utilized to work on the current problems we have in this community in ways that are practical and sustainable. You're not filling those police positions. People don't want to police this community. People from inside this community don't want to police this community. People from outside this community don't want to police this community. People who are in emergency situations do not want to police this community. They want alternatives. So we have the opportunity to take money that is not going to be spent on those positions that are not filled and put it to work in the community to serve the needs, to have proactive de-escalation, to have non-police response, and to have resources. It's not enough to pay $15,000 and study it. We need to implement something now. This is an emergency. This has been an emergency. And the response is not enough. None of this is enough. I hear talk of another encampment sweep. We are moving people around who have no legal place to go. This is absurd. We cannot just remove people constantly when there is no legal place for them to go. There is literally nowhere for them to be, nowhere for them to sleep, nowhere for them to rest. And chasing them from one place to another is killing them. Do not be a frog who starts to boil and looks at the other frogs saying, "Why are you making me so sweaty?"
All right. Please come, I like it this week.
I didn't know enough about your room.
Yeah, you gotta sign up.
Gotta find out.
Oh.
I just got a couple things. Vehicle situation. I want you all to understand if you have not been following the beer cooler over the years. This is not an isolated incident. These things has been happening for the last 3-4 years. There was one incident where they did drag a person out of the store, physically pull them out of the store, but there was no blows thrown. And prior to that, there was a lot of mistreatment of folks that came into the beer cooler. And just watch it, it's just a pattern. From one owner to another owner, to another owner, to another owner. It's never going to stop. You cannot fix that one because of the atmosphere of the people that hangs around there. Now, I'm gonna invite all of you council folks, I did it today. I'm gonna invite all of you council people, I don't care what wards you're in, I want you to go down and take a walk down to the dump. Don't be scared, but put you some boots on when you go down there. Because you got glass in the ground and you got iron pipes sticking up out of the ground. And watch this, y'all. That is a liability. As your attorney, he'll tell you, it's a liability for the city if those folks get hurt down there on that dump. So you got to do something about that. Now, the last thing is, I want you council folks to make sure that it's not publicized that what happened to this young man down the street here today was Ypsilanti Police Department's fault. It was not. That was Washington County's situation. But Washington County, Alicia Dye, her group, they always want to put things that happen in the city with the county. They want to put it on the city. So what happened down here today, the city was there, but the city did not take no action on that young man that they handcuffed, searched his car, and let go. Y'all do it. It's up to y'all.
Amazing.
All right, with that being said, thank you, everyone. Oh, it's 10:57. The meeting is adjourned. What happened?
Yeah, it was an issue further down there,
Yeah.
Like 6 as a protest. There were 80.
Check some, oh, I got some emails.